A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
There she is. That's Molly Goldberg, folks. A woman with a place in every heart and a finger in every pie. And now the makers of New Does. That new kind of soap for everything right down your wash line. Bring you another visit with those good folks, the Goldbergs.
We represent the Sunny Hill Ladies' Aid Society.
Now, wait a minute. What is this, a delegation?
Yes, we want you to give a speech at our next meeting.
What? Me speak before a whole bunch of ladies?
Why not? You talk on the radio every day.
Oh, well, that's different. I just stand by the microphone and talk about Does.
Well, it's Does that we want you to talk about.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so? Of course, I'll be glad to talk about this wonderful new soap. Why, Does is so new, there's never been a soap quite like it before.
Fine. But first, we'd like to give you a few pointers.
You see, some of the ladies are terribly old-fashioned about their laundry soap.
Oh?
Why, take that fussy Mrs. Jones. She just wouldn't believe me when I said this new does all three kinds of wash. Like work shirts and dirty towels, right down to pretty rayon slips.
But didn't you tell her Does is Procter & Gamble's new kind of granulated soap? It's not just a new improvement of an old soap, but a really new kind.
My, be sure to put that in your speech.
And when you tell how Does gets towels so white, you might glance over at that snooty Mrs. Smith.
Oh, why Mrs. Smith?
Well, she said she didn't see how Does could be so safe for her nicer colored washables and still get towels white, too.
Oh, she did she? Well, Does is safer for those pretty colors than any of the other leading granulated laundry soaps, and yet it gets towels really dazzling white. In fact, there's not another soap of any kind that gets clothes whiter than Does.
And if she asks how much scrubbing it takes...
I'll just tell her the facts. There's no hard scrubbing, no boiling to do. Why, no soap made gets clothes clean easier than Does. In fact, I'll ask every lady listening to try Does, and then she'll see for herself what a really new kind of granulated soap it is. I'll say just ask for new Does, D-U-Z, today, in that big red and white box. And next wash day, let Does do everything. And now, the Goldbergs. The Goldberg family find themselves with a strange responsibility. It started innocently enough when Rosie fell in love with Walter Jerome. And now the past is littered with a broken engagement, a family quarrel, struggle between a mother and a son, and finally with Walter's expressed love for Rosie and his apparent freedom from his past. Poor Jake and Molly have had to accept the inevitable. And the question now is, what's going to become of Walter's future? And how will it affect Rosie? Today, Walter's mother sketches out the answer to one side of the question, which Jake has in mind. Jake still wants to talk, but...
Sit, Jake, please. Please sit.
Call Rosalie in.
She'll come in. She's getting her coat. They're going for a walk.
Who is going?
I'll see.
Rosalie, you found your coat?
I'll be right in, Mama darling.
Is family going with you and Walter?
Daddy, are you going for a walk with us?
He is?
I'll be right in, Mama darling.
Well,
This is all a very fine to do. Very fine.
It will be smart, darling, and not foolish. All may still yet be very fine.
I wish I had your optical illusions.
Why?
Because I don't see things the way you see them.
I see everything also as is.
Cut my head off, Molly, and I still say Rosie is not for Walter, and Walter is not for Rosie.
A little tea, Jake.
You're not interested, huh?
I am, Jake. I am. What else am I interested in? But wait, darling. Wait until they go out of the house and we'll discuss it. You gave your word already to Walter. You said he could come and go across your threshold. Don't start everything all over again. Let him come. Let us get to know him better. Let Rosalie get to know him better. And we'll see, darling. We'll see. Is that sensible or is that insensible? No discussion, sure. Rosalie?
Uh-huh. I'm so happy, Papa darling.
That's how I always want you to be.
You were nice to Walter, too, Pa. You meant everything you said to him, huh, Papa darling?
I don't remember what I said.
Papa remembers. Papa remembers. Papa remembers very well. Walter is welcome. Very welcome.
Rosalie, only don't take yourself too seriously. That's all I ask of you.
What do you mean, Pa?
Papa means in the meantime, darling, be platonical.
You certainly aren't thinking of marriage.
Or engagement either yet.
All right.
Well, there's got to be an understanding, Mama, darling. Walter broke his engagement to Norma for one reason. You know that. I mean, under the circumstances, it
all
can't
right,
just
Rosalie, darling, please.
Well, I want you both to understand what this means to me.
We do, darling. We do. We understand that. Come in, Walter. Come in.
Thanks, Walter.
Well, are we going out for a walk?
Walter, I just want to...
The telephone is ringing, Jay.
Answer it.
I think it must be for you, dear.
Why do you think?
Because I'm sure it's for you, because Mr. Willoughby called before. Excuse me. Because I'm sure.
Rosie, did your father want to say anything to me?
I don't think so. I think all the talking's over now. Only, tell me, Walter, why did your mother want you to marry Norma, even though she knew that you didn't like her? If your mother knew that it would make you unhappy, then why did she insist?
What difference does it make, Rosie? That's all in the past now. I'm here in Glastonbury, and I'm staying here because I want to.
You want to because
of you.
I'm glad of it, Walter. Only
what, Rosie?
I mean, well, let's just talk of it now, once and for all, and we'll never have to mention it again. I mean, I'm thinking of these things, and...
What do you want to say, Rosie?
Well, I know that my father said he didn't give his absolute approval.
Well, that's because, as he said, he didn't know me very well.
I only know what I feel, Walter, and
that is?
You know.
Then what are we standing here and questioning each other for?
Only one thing, Walter. Did you promise to marry Norma? And if you did, I'm not just somebody who's helping you fight your mother. I don't want to be just a way for you to oppose people and things you don't like. I want to be...
What do you want to be, Rosie?
Well, what a girl is who's loved by someone.
You are.
Walter.
Yes, Rosie.
Can I make up for all the things you lost? All the things you've given up? I mean, you've given up so much, Walter.
Norma?
No, not Norma. Your family and the things they've always done for you and the things you've always had, the things you expected to have.
I'll still have them, Rosie. When my mother realizes she's lost, she won't deprive herself of the pleasure of giving me things.
Is that your mother, Walter? It's your car. It's your mother, Walter.
Well, that's all right.
Your mother's coming in there.
Oh, if you don't want her to, I'll...
She's welcome. She's welcome as you are, Walter. She's very welcome. But I don't want any more disturbances. We are not responsible for your breaking your engagement, and we don't...
Mama, darling, please.
I'm only saying, Rosalie.
Open the door, Molly, and let us say what we have to say.
Please, I'll open the door, but there's nothing to say here. Please, nothing. Everything we had to say has already been said. Please, and remember my words. Not one syllable and not one comma. Understand? Excuse me. Please. No.
Lay down, Paul.
Papa, darling, I don't want you to start anything, please.
Come in, Mrs. Girl. Walter's still here.
Yes, I'm here.
Please come in, Mr. Thoreau.
I came over to tell you, Walter, that Norm and I are going home.
When?
Tonight, I hope.
I'm glad we understand each other, Mother.
Oh, I understand you, Walter. I'm not so sure you understand me. And I'm not sure the Goldbergs do. That's why I'm here. Whether you've made your choice, we'll have to take up from there.
Mrs. Jerome, I assure you, no choices have been made by us.
I made my own choice, Mother.
Doesn't matter. The choice is made. You want to remain in Glastonbury.
Yes.
And you can't see eye to eye with me about Norma.
No.
Well, I've always been considered a smart woman. I might as well be smart now. I won't fight you anymore, Walter.
I intend to live the way I think is best.
I'll try to help you do so.
I don't think I need any help in my opinions, Mother.
Perhaps not. While you're here with your future in-laws.
Mrs. Jerome.
I said future. May happen. You like the pleasures of poverty and the life of a small town with small people and with very little to live with. You don't like variety, ease, and different places, and that's your choice. You don't need my help and you don't want it. Very well. You wish to stand on your own feet. Fine. I think you're making mistakes.
I intend to make my own mistakes, Mother.
You are, don't worry. Anyway, you refuse to accept my help and you refuse to see what your happiness is. If you wish this, you can have it. But I want you to understand that in cutting yourself off from our life, Walter, and the happiness you might have had with Norma and your family, cutting yourself off from everything, that means you'll have to live yourself, watch yourself. There's going to be no money from me, no help, no money from me, no help from me or your father. Work, live, do what you like. But my money and my fortune is not going to be wasted. You want freedom and poverty and happiness? Take it, but complete it. Is that clear?
Very clear.
But I'm also your mother, Walter. You're not a foolish woman. A foolish woman. Any time you see your mistake, any time you're willing to return to your right life with the people who are closest and dearest to you, all you have to do is walk in my door and say, Mother, I made a foolish mistake.
Molly, must I stand here and listen to it?
Don't go.
Stand here and listen to it?
Don't go, Mr. Goldberg. What I have to say is more important for you than for Walter. Now that he's no longer my responsibility, but yours.
As Molly and Jake hear Mrs. Jerome talking, they realize that Walter is being pushed into their hands, that the Goldbergs are getting the responsibility of his life. And at the same time, Molly can sense that Mrs. Jerome is really tempting Walter with the life he has just lost. You know, a lot of you ladies have told me how disgusted you are with the halfway job old-fashioned soaps do for dishes. Yes, you say you get mighty tired of bar soaps because they don't have real speed, and those tough granulated soaps because they're so short on safety for your hands. Well, don't you know those halfway soaps are out of date now that new Does is here? Yes, this new kind of granulated soap that does everything in your wash really gives you a new idea for dishwashing, too, because Does has everything you want for dishes, from whirlwind speed to greater kindness to your hands. Notice how wonderfully soft and smooth your hands feel after doing dishes with Does. It's the only leading granulated wash day soap that treats your hands with such extra gentleness. Yet Does can't be beat for speedy dishwashing. It cuts even tough grease without any hard scouring. Why, you can tell by the suds how really different new Does is. Try it today. Does has everything for dishes. Be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs, written for you by Gertrude Berg. From now on, Jake and Molly see that Walter has to be reckoned with in their own lives, whether Rosie is serious about him or not. In fact, Jake gets specific instructions on this point. This is Clayton Collier wishing you good day for Procter & Gamble, makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all three kinds of wash.
The story story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all long cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You go to an apartment house and answer to a shooting and dead body call. Her husband tells you it's suicide. The facts show it to be murder. Your job? Find out. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, March 9th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 4:35 p.m. when we got to the first floor of the Kelsey Apartment Hotel. Apartment 112.
Hi, Joe. Ben.
Hi, Harry. How are you? What have you got here?
A woman's dead, shot through the right temple with a .45 automatic. Husband claims it's suicide.
What's the name?
Mr. and Mrs. Andrew Robertson. Wife's name was Marie. That's Mr. Robertson right over here.
Has the crime lab been called?
About 2 minutes ago. Fine. Mr. Robertson, this is Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday.
How do you do? How are you, sir? Have you questioned Mr. Robertson?
No, not yet.
Mr. Robertson, do you want to tell us what happened here?
I'd just gotten back from the corner grocery store. My wife and I had a little argument going. It started before I left for the store, and it was still on when I got back.
I see.
She was fixing chicken fried steaks for dinner, putting the flour on them. We had a few more words, and I went over and sat on the Davenport right where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
She was standing there in the doorway to the kitchen. She said something that set me off, and I guess I got pretty mad and said a few things. Then she went back over to that little nightstand there by the door to the kitchen.
That one right there?
Yeah, that's it. That's where I keep my Army automatic. She pulled it out of the drawer and backed up into the kitchen. She put the gun to her head and said, "This'll put an end to the argument once and for all." I yelled at her and tried to stop her, but I was too late. She pulled the trigger and fell right there where she is.
What'd you do then?
I went upstairs to Ted Carlton's place. He lives in 212 right above us. We don't have a phone here. I asked him to call the police and send for an ambulance.
Did you go over to see how badly your wife was shot?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you. The minute she fired, I rushed right over to her, but I was too late. She was dead.
Now, did you touch anything in here, move anything at all?
No, sir, not a thing. I've been sitting here ever since I got back down from Ted's room upstairs.
I see.
Joe?
Yeah?
Empty cartridge casing here on the floor.
Yeah. When Jones gets here, we'll measure the distance. Just a minute. We can put this saucer over till the crime lab gets here.
All right. Riley.
All right. Crime lab's here, Friday. Need Jones.
Oh, hi, Lee.
Hello, Joe. Ben?
Hi, Lee.
Fremont, would you mind taking Mr. Robertson downtown? We'll be right down as soon as we finish up here.
Right, Joe. See you later.
Thanks a lot, Harry.
Let's go. What do we got here?
Shot through the right temple. Husband claims suicide.
Mm-hmm. What's under the saucer?
Empty casing.
Looks like she was flouring meat, huh?
That's what the husband says, yeah.
It's probably what that is in the barrel of the automatic there.
Yeah, we noticed that.
Wastebasket's sure full, isn't it?
Yeah?
Right tempo, huh? 45 automatic.
Yeah.
If she shot herself in the kitchen, how do you figure the empty casing got out there in the living room? Position of the body doesn't warrant that. That'll be Ed McGill, the photographer.
Come in. Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, Ed?
Hi, Ed.
Well, what do you want to shoot?
Why don't you get an overall of the room first and grab one in the kitchen there?
All right.
Wait till I get that saucer off the casing, Ed. Okay.
All right. Mary, you want to move over there, love?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. All right. Now, you want the kitchen?
Right from where you are now is good. We can get out of your way here.
Okay, this is fine.
Now, right over the body. Better get that chair to stand up.
Oh, yeah, here you are. Not much room to work in here.
Can you get it all in there?
Yeah, I think so.
Use the wastebasket as your outside line here and kitchen sink on the other side.
Can't get the sink in. Will you settle for the wastebasket only?
Fine. Just use that as your right-hand sideline, huh?
All right. Okay.
So while you fellas finish up in here, we're going to run upstairs and wait.
Okay, Joe.
Come on, Ben.
Where do you want to go first? 212?
Well, that's this Ted Carlton Robertson mentioned in it.
Yeah, the fellow who's supposed to have called in for him.
All right, yeah. Here it is, right head upstairs.
Yes?
Police officers. You're Mr. Carlton?
Yes, that's right. Come in.
Thank you very much.
This is an awful thing, isn't it?
Yes, sir. We understand that you're a friend of the Robertsons.
Yes, I am. Have you found out anything yet? You think Andy killed her?
We don't know. We haven't completed our investigation.
Oh, I see. I'll bet that's the way it was. I hate to say that, but from all indications, it certainly looks that way.
Mm-hmm. How do you mean?
The argument, the shouting, then that single shot. I don't know, but it sure struck me that Andy did it.
When did the argument start? Was it prolonged, do you know?
What do you mean?
When did it start? What time, do you know?
This one today started about 3:30 when Andy got back from the store, but they've been arguing ever since I've known them.
And how long have you known them?
About 2 years. Those two never should have gotten married to begin with, if I'm any judge.
Are you married?
No, sir, I'm not.
I wonder if you could tell us. Did Mrs. Robertson ever say anything that would lead you to believe that she was in fear of her life?
Well, yes, she did. One time Andy stalked out of the apartment down there, and Marie came up here to see me. She was in tears, all broken up about it, as usual during these spats.
I see.
She said, I'll try to remember exactly how she put it. She said, Andy gets so mad sometimes I think he's going to kill me.
What did they usually argue about, do you know?
Oh, different things. This particular time that I was telling you about, I think it was over his being late for dinner.
Oh, I see.
Now, aside from this one instance, is there anything else that you can tell us?
Well, Andy has a terrible temper, that I know. We used to go out and bowl once in a while, Marie, Andy, and myself. We had to stop. Every time he'd miss a spare, you'd think it was the end of the world.
Would he usually seem to take it out on his wife?
Most of the time, yeah. Although I must say I caught it a few times myself. Abusive language. She really carried on over nothing at all.
Mm-hmm. Did Robertson leave his wife home alone much of the time?
No, not any more than usual. Seems like he always wanted to get home just so they could argue. Everybody in the apartment house knows about him.
But you said that Mrs. Robertson came up here after that one particular argument, is that right?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Well, does she come up here often?
No, not very often. Just when she was unusually upset and her nerves were on edge. But only then when Andy would rush out mad.
Well, do you know whether or not Robertson owns a gun?
Yes, I believe he does. Matter of fact, I know he does. One night we were having trouble with prowlers, and he came up here with his automatic.
I see.
Later on, I think I asked him where he got the gun. He said from the Army.
Was there anything else you can add, Mr. Gordon?
I was the one who called the police. You knew that.
That's what we understand.
Didn't Andy tell you? He came up here right after the shot and asked me to call the police for him. They don't have a phone.
Well, exactly how did he tell you?
What do you mean?
Well, what were his exact words? Can you remember them?
Well, he said, my wife's shot. Call the police and get an ambulance quick.
And what was your reaction to this?
I'd heard the shot, so I wasn't too surprised. But when Andy came running up here, I knew before he said a word. You could tell just to look at him.
You could tell what?
Something was wrong. I had a hunch all along that this might happen someday.
What's that?
That Andy had killed his wife.
Ben and I continued questioning the various neighbors in the apartment building. Their stories all matched in every detail. The Robertsons had been known to argue, quite frequently and quite loud. None of the neighbors could definitely say that they had ever heard Andrew Robertson threaten his wife. All of them volunteered it would be entirely possible. We put in a call to R&I. We found that there was no previous record on Andrew Robertson nor his wife, Marie. Before Lee Jones had finished his investigation, latent fingerprint men had arrived, and the men from the coroner's office were standing by for removal of the body. We canvassed the neighborhood and checked with the various merchants in the area. They could shed no further light on the death of Marie Robertson. The coroner removed the body from apartment 112, and Lee Jones continued with his investigation. Ben and I returned downtown for further interrogation of the suspect.
Everything I've told you is the truth.
Would you mind going over it just once more?
All right. We had our quarrels and arguments, and I guess some of them were pretty bad, but I'd never do a thing like this to Marie.
Well, you don't seem very upset about all this, Robertson.
I'm not crying, if that's what you mean. I'm sorry she had to do it. Tried to stop her, but there was nothing I could do.
Well, you seem to be taking all this pretty well under the circumstances.
I don't know if I can explain how I feel about it. You see, Marie and I weren't too happy the past couple of years. We've been married 8 years, and I guess from the start we never could hit it off.
Did you used to argue quite a bit?
No, not at first we didn't. It just seemed that we've drifted apart the last couple of years. We seemed to fight all the time over nothing at all. I honestly believe we fell out of love.
Well, would you mind telling us again exactly what happened this afternoon?
First of all, I got up. I always like to sleep on Sundays. She asked me to go to the store. That started the argument. She knows I don't like to go shopping, but it seemed like she was always forgetting something, and I'd have to go.
Mm-hmm.
When I got back from the store, she was making chicken fried steaks for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
She was putting flour on the meat. We argued back and forth for a minute, and then she stepped into the living room. I went over and sat on the Davenport.
All right, go on.
We had a few more words, and she went over to the small nightstand by the kitchen door and took out my Army automatic that I kept in there. She backed up into the kitchen and pointed the gun at her head.
Here.
She said this will end the argument once and for all. As I said, I was on the Davenport about 12 feet away from her. I yelled at her.
What'd you say?
I said, Marie, put that gun down. It's loaded. Before I could reach her, she pulled the trigger.
Then what'd you do?
I rushed over to her, but it was too late. She was dead.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
We don't have a phone, so I rushed upstairs to the apartment right over us, Ted Carlton's. I asked him to phone for the police and the ambulance.
Did you tell Carlton about your wife?
Yes, I did. I told him she'd been shot.
Then where'd you go?
So, just like I told you, out of the apartment, I went back downstairs and waited in the living room for you people to get there.
Did you go near your wife's body?
No, I did not.
Did you always keep that gun loaded?
Yes, I did. I always kept it loaded and actuated. With a shell in the chamber, but I kept the safety lock on. Marie knew how to operate the gun because I showed her for when I was out late.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't strong enough to actuate it, but she could work the safety.
Did your wife ever try to commit suicide before?
Not to my knowledge.
Mr. Robertson, you sure that everything you've told us is the truth?
It's the absolute truth, every word of it.
Well, sir, here's the way it looks to us. We think you killed your wife.
I didn't.
Let us lay out a few things for you. We talked to your friends and neighbors in the apartment house. We have people who will testify to the fact that your wife was afraid that you might kill her. She told one man that.
It isn't true. I don't know what she may have told somebody, but I didn't kill her.
It's a known fact throughout the entire apartment building that you and your wife had violent quarrels. The kind of arguments, from all reports, that could easily lead to something like this.
I told you we argued, but I didn't kill Marie. I couldn't do a thing like that.
Mr. Robertson, we've made a preliminary investigation of your apartment. You say your wife killed herself. Let me show you some of the flaws in your story here.
All I can say is what I've told you is the truth. I didn't kill her.
Now, you told us that your wife went to the nightstand and got the gun.
That's right.
How did she pick up the automatic?
How do you mean?
Well, how'd she take it from the drawer?
Like anyone would pick up a gun? By the butt? She picked it up like anybody would who was going to use it.
You're sure about that?
Positive.
She didn't touch anything but the butt?
Well, she had part of her hand on the trigger.
Well, we know that, but she didn't touch any other part of the weapon.
She did not. She didn't have time.
Well, then how do you account for the fact that we found traces of flour on the barrel of the gun?
Well, sure, she was flouring meat.
Well, how did the flour get on the barrel?
I don't know.
Well, isn't it true that when you approached her with the automatic pointed at her, she tried to ward off the shot with her hand? Now, isn't that how the flour got on that barrel?
That isn't true.
Now, you said your wife was putting flour on some steaks.
That's right.
How do you account for the fact that we didn't find any flour on the butt of the gun where it belonged? Or on the drawer of the nightstand, where you say she first picked up the automatic?
Well, I can't answer that. I don't know what all this means.
Well, it means that unless you've got some kind of explanation, we have to assume that you're lying, that you killed your wife.
I don't know how to explain all these things, but I didn't kill her.
Mr. Robertson, you say you were an Army man. Isn't that what you told us out at the apartment?
Yes, I was a sergeant in the Army during the last war.
What outfit were you in?
I was an instructor in sidearm weapons at Santa Ana Army Air Base.
Then you'd be somewhat of an authority on the Colt .45 caliber automatic pistol, wouldn't you?
I guess I would, yeah. That was one of the weapons I instructed in.
You'd know all about the system of ejection employed by the Colt Company on their .45 automatic.
Yes, I would.
The empty casing ejects to the right, up and back. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
In other words, if you were pointing a .45 at me and you pulled the trigger, the empty casing would eject to your right, up, and fall on the floor to the rear on your right side. Is that right?
Yeah, that's where it would end up.
You still maintain that your wife shot herself?
Yes, I do.
Where was she standing when she pulled the trigger?
As I told you before, in the kitchen.
How was she standing?
What do you mean?
Which way was she facing?
Well, let's see. Facing me. Yeah, that's right, in the kitchen with her back to the sink, facing out toward me.
And where were you?
On the Davenport in the living room, facing her.
Now, bearing in mind what we've already discussed and agreed upon concerning the ejection system of a .45, how do you account for the fact that the empty casing was found in the living room, 6 feet and 4 inches from the kitchen?
Well, let's see.
I'll figure it for you. The empty casing should have been found on the floor of the kitchen, somewhere to the right and rear of your wife. Isn't that about it?
I don't understand. Why are you trying to prove me guilty? I've told you, and I swear to you, I didn't kill my wife.
Well, it'd be a physical impossibility for that empty casing to have landed anywhere but in the kitchen if your wife had pulled the trigger of that automatic. Now, how about that?
What can I say? Please believe what I'm telling you. I didn't do it.
Not according to the evidence.
I don't understand any of this.
Well, here's the way we've got it reconstructed. You had a quarrel. You got the gun. You met your wife at the doorway to the kitchen. You pointed the gun at her. She tried to ward it off with her left hand, leaving flour on the barrel of the gun. You fired, and the casing was thrown up and back to the right, where it landed on the rug of the living room.
The testimony of the neighbors, the flour on your wife's hand, the position of the empty casing. Robertson, you're it.
I don't know why all these things are the way you say they are.
Well, we do. We don't believe your wife committed suicide. You think about it. Come on, Ben.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
Evidence we've got so far has got him tabbed.
Yeah. With all that proof, he still refuses to cop out.
Something doesn't jibe.
Maybe we can find out why.
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes, rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all, long cigarettes.
We had Gene Bechtel take Andrew Robertson's statement. We had his testimony that his wife had committed suicide, a fact that he couldn't prove and that we could disprove. We had before us the final investigation. All evidence was taken to the crime lab for analysis. The photographs taken at the scene were developed and brought in for careful checking. In accordance with Robertson's story, both he and his deceased wife were given paraffin tests to determine the presence of nitrates. Both of them were fingerprinted, and latent prints detail started to check them out. 2 teams of men were sent out to talk with the close relatives of the 2 people. Sunday, March 9th, 7 p.m. We got a call from Lieutenant Lee Jones that he had the final results of his investigation. We went over to the second floor of the Central Station, crime lab.
Got a couple of things for you.
Okay.
How'd you make out with Robertson?
Well, he insists that it was suicide. What's your idea on it?
Let me show you what we got.
All right.
Yeah, look at this.
A picture of the .45 casing.
That's right. Take a close look at it. Right here in particular.
Yeah.
You notice this one edge is a little crimped here?
Yeah, ejector marks.
No, here are ejector marks up here, see? This crimping is something entirely different.
What is it?
You remember where you found this casing?
6 feet 4 inches into the living room.
That's right.
And we wondered how it could have been thrown that far by the ejector if the husband's story's true.
The ejector didn't do that. I wondered, too. On closer inspection, I noticed this crimping. Let me show you how this casing got out there in the living room. Here's an identical .45 caliber called empty casing.
Yeah.
We place it here on the floor on a piece of carpeting, the same thickness that was in their kitchen, linoleum. Now watch this. I'll step on it, hitting it from an angle. There's your answer to that. When the husband ran over to his wife's side, what did he say he did?
Yeah, it's about the size of it.
He stepped on the casing accidentally, and certainly not caring about it at that moment, it bounced out into the living room just like a tiddlywink. Here. Notice the casing now, the crimping. Check it against the photo.
Yeah. Looks exactly the same way. It matches.
Did the flour on the barrel of the gun, it was flour, by the way, did it figure in for you fellas?
Well, yeah, we figured the wife was trying to ward off the gun when he pointed it at her.
Well, certainly the logical deduction. Now, let me show you how it really got on there. Here's that shot of the kitchen out there.
Yeah.
Notice the wastebasket here? It's pretty full, isn't it?
Yeah, we noticed that when we were out there.
What you probably didn't notice is this. Here's a blow-up of just that section where the wastebasket was. Can you see what's on the top of the stuff in the basket there?
Yeah, can you hold it over here, leave a little
Yeah.
lights in? Yeah, it looks like a flour sack.
That's right, an empty flour sack. Now, figuring the position of the body in relation to that wastebasket, when she dropped the gun, it fell from her hand, striking the wastebasket, bouncing off, and landing on the floor where you found it.
You said when she dropped the gun. You figure it was suicide?
It's beginning to shape up that way, isn't it?
There was no flour found on the butt of the gun.
That part of the automatic didn't come in contact with the flour sack.
Yeah, but at least she was flouring meat.
There were no traces of it on her right hand, on the palm, just on the back. In checking the clothing, we found streaks of flour where she could have wiped her hands clean before picking up the gun.
Yeah, and out there we could only see the backs of her hand. The coroner checked that through, huh? It doesn't look like he killed her.
And there's more here. As you know, we ran paraffin tests on both the victim and Robertson.
Yeah.
Here's the results of the tests.
See. Andrew Robertson, known nitrates negative. Marie Robertson, evidence of nitrates positive.
She fired a gun, he didn't, huh?
That's it. There's something else. Here's the report from latent prints. Smudges. One good thumbprint, right hand, belonging to Marie Robertson, indicating she was the last one to handle a weapon.
Well, that's about it, Lee?
No, that's more for you. Now, this shot was taken facing the east wall of the kitchen. Now, that's the wall that would be on anyone's left sitting on the Davenport in the front room.
That's right.
Wouldn't be possible to see that wall from the Davenport.
No, it wouldn't, that's right.
You can see the white X where we located the slut.
Yeah.
Relative to the position of the body, if she was standing, holding the gun at approximately a right angle with the side of her head, the bullet would come to rest approximately 4 inches below the crown of her head.
Yeah. Does it check out?
The coroner says she was 5'4". The bullet was found at a height of 5 1/8, proving that she shot herself rather than anyone else doing it, judging from the inclination of the bullet. As you know, this is critical.
Yeah.
From what it's worth, the condition of the wound indicates that it was inflicted from extreme close range. Fair point when you consider that most people wouldn't submit to being shot from close range without a struggle or unless taken by surprise.
Well, from all reports, we know she wasn't taken by surprise.
Well, that's it, fellas. That's all we have.
Well, thanks, Lee. It's sure enough.
Crime Lab, Jones. Yeah, right here. Just a minute. Either one of you.
All right, Lee, I'll get it, huh? Thanks. Friday. Well, hi, Harry. You did, huh? What's that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have the letter with you? It does, huh? Yeah? Yeah, right, Harry. Thank you very much. Bye. Harry Fremont. He just left Marie Robertson's mother.
What'd she have to say?
Well, Fremont says she gave him a letter. He's on his way in with it now. It was written by Marie Robertson. It says something about taking her own life. Her mother says that the husband couldn't have done it. Says the daughter's shown indication in the past of wanting to take her own life.
Well, that about cinches it.
Makes you feel kind of good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Finding a man clear on a charge instead of having to hang him up.
Come on, Ben.
Right.
Where you headed?
Back across the street.
Wait till I get my coat. I'll go with you.
What for?
I want to see him, too, when you tell him.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 12th, the hearing was held in the office of the coroner, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that hearing.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, a great many listeners have written us saying that they first bought Fatimas because they liked our program. But they go on to say that after smoking their first pack, they agree with everything that we've said about them. That Fatimas are extra mild. That they do have a better flavor and aroma. Well, naturally, we're pleased when you get acquainted with Fatimas because all of us on Dragnet are convinced Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes. When you buy your first pack, I'm sure you'll agree. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Andrew William Robertson was immediately released from custody. A 510 form was made out, exonerating him from any complicity in the death of his wife.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. James M. Fox, President of the Southern California chapter of the Mystery Writers of America.
The Edgar Allan Poe Awards of the Mystery Writers of America are made each year for outstanding contributions in the field of mystery. This year, by a nationwide vote of 300 professional mystery writers, the radio award goes to Dragnet for consistent excellence in the use of the medium in the best traditions of our craft. The Mystery Writers of America are happy to present their Edgars, statuettes of Poe, to Dragnet's Jim Moser, who writes the scripts, and a duplicate statuette to Dragnet. Congratulations, Mr. Moser.
Thank you, Mr. Fox.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over many NBC stations.
I get 10 a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the Pilgrim's Progress.
The Cosmopolitan Building, 7th Street near Olive, downtown L.A. A mess of granite thrown together by an architect who must have taken his degree on the rock pile at Leavenworth. It's up on the 3rd floor, room 308, right next to a credit dentist who shares his office with a collection agency. On the other side, there's a school for models, and the Lion's got sore eyes trying to see through that cloudy glass. International Detective Bureau, Anthony J. Lyon, President. He's also Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer. I work for him. Well, the office isn't much, but there's enough elbow room for a client to write a check. I went to the office Friday night about 5:20 answering the Lion's call. He was sitting behind the desk sucking on a quarter cigar. He looked real pleased, like a fat lady locked in a cream puff factory.
Man I know had a baby. Plumber named Broman or Groman or something like that.
Mazel tov.
Cancel any arrangements you got for the night. I got something for you to do. Got your car?
It's in the lot.
Gas it up. You're taking a trip.
Where to?
Calabasas. A man wants to see you.
I got no friends out there.
Friend of mine named Hendricks. He counts his money with an adding machine, and his finger's always swollen.
What's the problem?
I don't know. He didn't say. He just called and told me to send out a man.
How much did he give you for a retainer?
When an important man like Hendricks calls, you don't insult him by asking for money.
Oh, stop it, will you? You're the kind of guy who'd steal pennies out of parking meters.
That's enough, Regan.
If one of them turned up empty, you'd sue the city.
Here's the Hendricks address. Now get out there.
All right.
Regan.
Yeah?
Remember, do a good job, and I'll give you Thanksgiving off, and I'll pay you.
With what, cranberries? Well, I headed out Beverly and then up through Hollywood. You know, it's only November, but Santa Claus is breaking out all over the boulevard. I fought my way over Cahuenga Pass, and by the time I was dodging station wagons on Ventura, it was dark. Calabasas is a place with a couple of service stations, a hot dog stand, and a few road signs full of buckshot. The Hendricks place turned out to be about 5 miles down a road that the Indians built for hauling firewater. I guess they couldn't keep the cork in. But the house itself was strictly prohibition stuff. Big pile of slate roof and leaded windows. It looked dark and lonesome. I figured somebody had their holidays mixed.
Hiya, Pilgrim.
He was a big fat guy. He was holding a 6-foot gun in the shape of a straightened-out tuba. He came closer, and I could see his hat. It was a high one with a buckle on it. He was dressed in black, and he had buckles all over him. I figured that I'd been eating too much Quaker Oats.
What's the matter, Pilgrim? A little shooting make you nervous?
That's a big gun there.
Shoots musket balls. Good for Indians.
Well, I'm no Indian.
Oh, I wasn't aiming at you.
Well, that gun wouldn't know the difference.
It's a blunderbuss. Great weapon.
Is it?
I'll show you. So you prop her up on a crutch.
You keep fooling with that thing, and we'll both need one.
Now, let's be quiet there. Load the barrels. Lots of powder.
Look, why don't you give that thing back to the museum?
See, that's it. More powder. Gotta use lots of this black powder.
Well, sure, you need black coffee. Come on, give me that thing before it blows up in your face. You broke a window.
Oh, it's all right. It was only the attic.
You live here?
Of course not, Pilgrim. I'm Miles Standish.
Well, where's the rest of the party?
All inside, talking to John Olden.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you just think I'm kidding, don't you? Pilgrim, you just haven't got the Mayflower spirit.
No, you drank it all.
It's just cider. Nothing better on a cold New England night.
Thanksgiving's not for a week. Come on, get off it.
Hark.
What's the matter? Put that down.
I'm not going to shoot him. He's a friendly type.
Brother Regan?
Yeah?
If thou wilt follow me, please.
Oh, you too, huh?
I beg your pardon?
Okay.
Well, so long, Pilgrim.
Yeah, keep your powder dry, Standy.
I'll see you on Plymouth Rock.
Okay, this way, Brother Regan.
Now, look, Sunshine, you work here.
My name is Phelps.
Why don't you lock that guy up?
I'd be outnumbered, sir. 21, Pilgrim.
Bad winter. They make you wear those corduroy knickers?
Knee breeches, sir. It was Priscilla's idea.
You need a union.
I need more shapely legs. Through here.
Well, it's quite a place you got.
Well, it's better without the decorations, sir.
Yeah. How do you keep from stepping on these pumpkins?
It's only when they use them for bowling that it's difficult.
Come on, fill me in. What's this all about?
Thanksgiving, sir. 1621. Okay, this room here, sir. Go right in.
Okay.
Shut the door. Shut it.
Mr. Hendricks around?
He's not here. Come over, sit down.
Who are you, Priscilla?
Don't. Please don't say another word of that silly rigmarole or I'll start screaming.
Yeah, well, I could use a little yell myself.
I'm Agnes. I'm Mrs. Hendricks. Or Agnes.
It doesn't make any difference.
Does to my friends. Didn't I say sit down?
Yes, you did, and I didn't. So you don't like the party, huh?
I'm not much of a Puritan, Mr. Regan.
Well, that great Dane says the masquerade was your idea.
Phelps is stupid. This goes on all weekend, Mr. Regan. It's called a turkey shoot.
Yeah, so that's it. Who gets the bird?
The Pilgrim fathers. My husband's friends. They ought to be shot, every one of them.
Yeah, well, I'm not from the SPCA.
Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Regan. I like you.
That's not the point.
I won't bore you.
Your husband might.
Him. He's crazy, Mr. Regan. Crazy as the things he does. Shooting, drinking, spending money.
A hard life.
I don't know how I stood it for as long as I have. My lawyer says I'm the most patient woman in the world.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the conversation, Miss Hendricks.
Why did my husband send for you?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You do know. Tell me.
I don't know.
Please. You don't realize what kind of a man my husband can be.
I never met him.
You don't know how much I need help. How lonely I am.
Well, where is he?
I'll tell you if you promise to come back to me.
No, I'll write you a letter.
He's out in the shed, other side of the patio.
Thanks.
I wouldn't act this way if I weren't so frightened. You don't know what it is to be frightened all the time.
No, but I'm learning.
I wish you'd stick around, Mr. Regan.
Well, thanks, Mrs. Hendricks, but the pin feathers are a little sharp. Mrs. Hendricks went back to her worrying, and I wound my way through the house looking for the back entrance. My legs got tired before it finally showed on the other side of the pantry. It poured out into a flagstone patio as big as the Palladium. A walk took me to a shed. It was a two-story redwood place that must have made a loud noise on the cash register, and alongside, fenced in with chicken wire, was a whole population of turkeys. Well, I went into the shed. A little round-faced guy with pink skin was leaning over a barrel of cider. He wore a blue silk smoking jacket with gold initials EH on the pocket. When he caught my footsteps, his head bobbed up, and he gave me a deep look like he was trying to see the back of my eyeballs.
Yes?
I'm Regan, International Detective Bureau.
Oh, I've been expecting you. I'm Hendricks.
Yeah, I know. Why the fireworks?
Huh? Oh. Miles Standish. Just having fun. It's a party, you know. Big party we're having here.
Yeah, well, the neighbors will complain.
Ah, neighbors. None for miles around. That's why I like it out here. Have trouble finding me?
You ought to put up signs.
Signs? Glass of cider, Regan? Carefully. What?
I'm not thirsty.
That's not what it's for. Strong kind. Oh, go on. Thanksgiving soon. Get the spirit.
No, I can hold out till Thursday.
Suit yourself. Excuse me. Good. Yeah. Well, it's going to be quite a party here, you know.
Your wife's got a different version.
Oh, you spoke to her?
Yeah.
You were told to come out here to see me?
I got sidetracked.
It's not good for a man in your position.
All right, Hendricks, why am I here?
What'd she say to you?
I forgot.
Regan, you're making me angry.
Now, look, mister, you didn't get me out here to make a pilgrim out of me.
No, of course not. Fine woman, Mrs. Edgar. We've been married for years, you know, happily. Fine little woman. Still, she makes me a little nervous at times.
You like the sound of guns going off?
She shouldn't get so excited. Boys just having little fun. It's only once a year. What's wrong with that?
Come on, now, what's the job?
Didn't the line tell you?
He said you would.
Oh, well, nothing to be so mysterious about. I've just got a package I want you to take to. Here it is. A turkey.
You got me all the way out here to play escort to that bird?
Well, I just want to be friendly. Here. Now, go on. It's a long way back to L.A., and you want to be there for Thanksgiving.
What's the difference? I got the turkey. I can celebrate any time. 60 miles to do a delivery job, bird. Well, I wandered back to my car, and I listened to the crickets and the gunshots try to outdo each other. And then I dumped the turkey into the back seat, and I started the car down the drive. I just noted around the bend when the headlights caught a pair of buckled shoes and black knee breeches. Miles Standish was lying face down in the dirt, and there was a wet shine on his side. He was breathing hard. Blunderbuss was lying beside him, and I figured that he blew out the wrong end. I would have gone for the Hendricks phone and the doctor, but I got a good look at the holes in him, and I headed for a hospital instead. The blunderbuss may have been kicking up a fuss, but the holes in Miles Standish were 20th century, about the size of a .32. Well, I turned him over to an emergency hospital, and I put a call into the sheriff's office. I gave the story to Lieutenant Robinson, and then I headed back toward town. At the Lyons place, the lights were still on, so I figured he didn't have company. I rapped on the door, and he flung it open before the echo could die away. He had a carving knife in one hand, and he was wearing an apron. His eyes were big, and he had an eager look like a college couple on Mulholland Drive.
Regan, you're back.
Oh, now that takes a big brain.
I've been waiting for you. You know, I had a chance to go to a classy party tonight. Russian caviar and champagne and favors to all the guests. You know why I didn't go?
You lost your crack suit, huh?
I said to myself, is it fair to go out and have a good time while my employee is working real hard for international detectives?
And the answer came out yes, but the party was called off.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was. But I wouldn't have gone anyway. Where is it?
Where's what?
The package from Hendricks.
Now, you can change your plans, big shot. You're getting a bundle of trouble instead.
What do you mean?
Turkeys aren't the only thing they're knocking off out on that ranch.
Huh?
Somebody's handy with a .32, and he's found a target.
You've been drinking?
Check the county emergency hospital. They'll show you the holes.
I send you out on a simple little job, and you come back with a crazy story about a shooting. You're out of your mind.
Now, listen, you. There's a big smell out in Calabasas.
What about my turkey?
The sheriff's office are going to have a lot of questions. You got the answers?
I don't know anything. I was miles away.
Well, then find out something. Check into the guy who shot. Find out who he is, what he does, and what he was doing out at Hendricks.
Where you going?
To scratch around in the Hendricks closet. They tell different stories about their wedded bliss.
Hey, Regan.
Yeah?
Where's my turkey?
Too rich for your blood, Fatso. Stick to chicken. Well, I left him standing there with his apron hanging out. Miles Standish might get enough wind to do that extra hole to say who shot him, but more likely not. Anyway, with the bucket load he had, he would have sworn it was the last of the Mohicans. But there was an angle to that Hendricks woman, even if it didn't show. So I walked up the street to where my car was nuzzling a lamppost. And the turkey and I were just going to wake up a newspaper office, only something changed my mind. A newspaper. It was wrapped around a bundle, and the bundle was under a guy's arm, and the arm was shutting the door of my car. Good evening, Pop.
Yeah. Hi.
Going somewhere?
Sure. Find a place to sleep, that's all.
Want a cigarette?
Say, I don't mind if I do. Thought you was a bull for a minute. You mind if I take two?
No, help yourself.
My brother smokes too. And not much in the streets these days.
Yeah, it's bad all over.
Well, something ought to be done.
No, stick around, Pop.
No, Sonny. You give me smokes. I don't hit you for cash. It's a rule I got.
I'll make the touch.
What's that?
What's in the newspaper?
Russia.
Inside.
The funny paper.
Yeah, sure.
Well, now take it easy, boss. The guy's got a right to his privacy.
You weren't sleeping in my car.
Oh, so that's it, huh? Yours, huh? Small world, ain't it?
Yeah, come on, let's unwrap.
Now, it's Thanksgiving, Mac. Ain't you heard of Thanksgiving?
I'm going to plug my ears. Give.
Now, please, Mac, show me the spirit. Once in my life, both drumsticks.
Now, stop it, you're breaking my heart.
I mean it, Mac. Let me have it. I'll break the wishbone for you, Sonny. I will. You ain't got no use for all that meat, have you? Oh, you have, huh? Oh, so long, man.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold it.
I let go of my arm.
That was a pretty dance, but you should have changed your shoes.
What's that?
You didn't get those buckles in the bread line.
Oh.
Now, come on, change the record. Who are you?
That's none of your business. Let go.
I said talk.
I will not.
You're from the Hendricks place, aren't you? You're from the...
Thank you, Phelps.
That's all right. Got the bird?
Sure. Let's go.
Yeah. Nighty-night, Pilgrim.
You are listening to the story of the Pilgrim's Progress, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. If you are interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and the story of the Pilgrim's Progress.
Well, none of it made sense. The Lion sent me out to pick up a turkey on the Hendricks Ranch in Calabasas, and the Mr. and Mrs. were having an old-fashioned turkey shoot, and all the guests carried blunderbusses and dressed like pilgrims. Only it wasn't just the turkeys who were acting as targets. One of the pilgrims ended up with some .32 caliber holes in him. And then the Hendricks lackey and a buddy shoved a gun at me and stole the Lion's bird. Well, I picked myself up and I went home. A heavy man was doing a heist job on my icebox. He was pouring himself a glass of milk to wash down a sandwich he was munching on.
Hi, Regan.
Go right ahead. Help yourself.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't know how long I was going to have to wait, and I was getting hungry.
There's a restaurant just up the block.
I like it better this way, homemade. Fix you a sandwich? Pretty good deviled ham.
Come on, let's close the box and open your mouth, buddy.
Why not? We had a date, remember? Robertson, sheriff's office.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
You don't mind me coming in like this, do you?
What if I did?
Well, I'd leave. Sanctity of the home, you know. You can throw me out even though I got a badge.
Let's cut away the fat, mister. What do you want?
Answers to a couple of questions. What were you doing at the Hendricks place?
Picking up a turkey?
Well, that's a new one.
Now, look, you ask him. I'll answer him. Never mind the feature page.
How long have you known the Hendricks?
Never met him before.
Wrong answer.
What do you mean?
We found this out at the Hendricks house. A page torn out of the yellow directory with a red circle around international detective.
Now, that doesn't say a thing.
Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm still scratching around.
It'll ruin your manicure.
You know, Regan, you don't seem to realize the seriousness of this. That pilgrim you dragged in died.
Well, I figured.
We don't like unsolved murders messing up our record books.
Well, then you're wasting your time here.
I got lots of it. I don't come up for pension for 12 more years. What was that pilgrim's name?
He gave me Miles Standish.
Sounds like a fake.
Well, don't count on it. I once knew a John Smith.
Give me the real name.
I don't have it.
All right. He's an out-of-town boy, but we'll track him down. Now, straighten out something for me, Regan. How long did you say you knew the Hendricks?
Now, look, I gave this to you once. Nothing's changed.
How come we find a $5,000 check in that joker's pocket made out to cash and signed by Hendricks? Go ahead, answer. Just don't make a date. You may not be available.
Yeah?
Mr. Regan, this is Mrs. Hendricks. I must see you right away.
Who did you say?
Mrs. Hendricks, you remember?
Charlie? No, there's no Charlie here. You must have the wrong number.
Sort of annoying, isn't it, Regan, when you get a wrong number late at night?
Well, it happens.
Sure it does. Happened to me once.
Anything else you want?
Another deviled ham sandwich?
Kitchen's closed.
Pretty rotten hospitality.
Well, you weren't asked.
Okay, I gotta move anyway. See you later, Regan. Keep the mud off your shoes.
ER3408.
Hello?
Mrs. Hendricks, this is Regan.
I just called you.
Well, I couldn't talk. What do you want?
Can you come out, Mr. Regan? Right away.
You still lonely?
Things aren't going well.
Well, murder's like that.
I've got to talk to somebody. Won't you please come?
Give me a reason.
I can tell you some things now I couldn't mention before.
Like why your husband wrote a $5,000 check to the dead man?
Check? But there must be some mistake.
What do you mean?
My husband couldn't write a check that large. He doesn't have any money of his own. It's all in my name.
All right. Put a lantern in the window, lady. I'll need some light. Well, I headed out there fast. But when I raised a racket with a brass knocker, nothing happened. I tried a window, and a couple of scratches later, I was in the hall. The place looked empty like the Rose Bowl on January 2nd. I found Miss Hendricks' room where I talked to her and stepped inside. The decorations were different.
Sheriff's office. Robinson.
This is Regan. I got something for you.
It better be good.
You're going into overtime.
What do you mean?
Bring some boys out to the Hendricks place with a wet rag. Somebody blew out Mr. Hendricks' fuse. Well, I backed out of the room and I made it for the bar trying to turn up a bottle. In the corner, something else turned up instead. Another dead body. The turkey Phelps and his buddy had stolen from me. Somebody real eager had done a carving job on it before it was even cooked. They'd torn it apart like they were looking for something. Well, it was morning before the sheriff's boys cleaned up the Hendricks mess when we got back to town. Robinson had a few more questions, but I was still short on the answers. Ballistics had one, though. Same gun did the job on both Miles Standish and Hendricks. That's all. Homicide was getting places in a hurry, like a snail hauling a piano. Well, the Lion was waiting for me outside the sheriff's office, and he pulled me to the side. His eyes were lit up like a pinball machine, and you could tell he'd caught the scent of a greenback.
They tricked you okay, Regan?
Good enough.
No rough stuff?
Oh, nothing that shows, no.
Thinking we're in luck. I've been turning up things. We've been playing the wrong horse.
Well, that figures you're good at picking losers.
Hendricks is a piker, a social climber.
He's a dead one.
I'll send him flowers. But I'm telling you, he could only write checks for 5 G's.
With a big bounce.
Somebody else in this thing can write bigger ones.
Well, let me guess who.
Mrs. Hendricks, that's who. I tell you, Regan, it pays to keep up your connections.
How high can she go?
The sky's below sea level.
What else you got?
Standish is a phony moniker.
That's grammar school.
Real name Jeffrey Kelly, age 42. He's a wholesale jeweler. He had a little business with Mrs. H. $250,000 worth.
That's going to run up his taxes.
He can handle it.
What did he do for her?
I drew a blank, but he deposited her certified check at the bank yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm. How does Phelps figure?
I don't know.
Well, who's the little man in the big overcoat?
I can't do everything. You got to do some work, too.
Yeah, sure.
Now, find Mrs. Hendricks. Offer her the services of international detective at our usual nominal rate. But don't underplay it. Now, get busy.
Where are you going?
Home to bed. A man's got to get some sleep.
Well, the time was ticking out, but the game wasn't over yet. I figured to have a fast finish, and the Lion had a pretty good idea about catching some shut-eye. So I moved to the office and to stretch out on the couch. But through the glass, I could see there was a light on. Company was inside.
Greenfield 2045. Phelps, no luck. I looked all over. I told you, I tore the place apart. Nothing's here. I'm trying my best. Stop harping. Oh, well, it must be someplace else. Okay, right away.
Leave a nickel, Buster.
Huh? Oh, Regan.
You looking for something?
You, Pilgrim.
What else?
Plymouth Rock.
Come on, punk, level it.
That coax me.
All right, Nickers, you've been crying for this. Now, what now? Well, it felt good to watch the big guy fall. He folded in like a steeple in an earthquake. When his head bounced on the Lion's carpet, it figured he was due for a long sleep, so I went through his pockets. Ticket stubs from the prize fights, the gun, and the pocket knife I dumped into the safe. It was a pass to the Dons game on November 25th. He must have swiped that from his boss, so I filed that in the Lion's desk for future reference. But this guy Phelps had taken orders from somebody besides Hendricks. I just heard him do it on the phone. So when I turned up an old envelope with 832 North Palm scratched in the back, I crossed my fingers. He'd been calling a Crestview number, and the phone book said that I had a lead. North Palm was in the Crestview exchange area. So I called for the cops to sweep up Brother Phelps, and I climbed back onto my broomstick. I drove out through Beverly Hills. I wound up in front of a big Spanish house with potted $10 bills on the driveway. There was a new Nash sticking out of the garage, and I walked around to take a look. But honest John had beat me to it.
Who's there?
Now, stick around. I want to talk to you.
Stand back. Stand back.
You like cars, don't you? Maybe you want a hot rod.
No, you don't. Get away from me.
Hey. Well, it was the little turkey fan that I'd last seen in an overcoat. Phelps' buddy. He took out of there like a cow in deer season, so I let him go. No license. Well, I took a look around the car he'd been sniffing, but nothing showed except the registration. It said Mrs. Agnes Hendricks. I went to the house and rang the doorbell, and she answered.
Oh, what's you? It's Regan.
All right, I'll ask myself in.
Yes, come in.
Who are you expecting, John Alden?
No, I'm glad to see you.
You know, I don't like girls who break dates.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that's one thing.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't wait for you to come all the way to Calabasas.
You got impatient on account of a body in the house.
You saw him?
Yeah, after I tripped over him in your room.
I didn't do it.
Did I say you did?
You've got to believe me.
Relax. I look like a jury. You got multiple vision.
Oh, Mr. Regan, I was so frightened. I didn't know which way to turn.
We've been through all that woman driver routine. You don't like your husband. You wanted to get rid of him.
But only in Reno.
All right, now let's get back to page 1. You gave 250 G's to a jeweler named Kelly. You bought a rock. What? A rock, Plymouth Rock. It's a diamond. It's got to be.
Well,
why'd you do it? Who'd you buy it for?
Myself. My lawyer said I should get it for myself, that's all.
He likes you pretty, huh?
No, it was a community property thing. He said I could keep my husband from knowing how much money I had when he asked for a divorce settlement.
Only hubby got wind of the deal.
I guess so.
You're making sense. Only why did he write a check to Kelly?
Well, it was a small one. It must have been for a paste imitation, don't you think?
That's not my business. Keep dealing.
I mean, maybe he planned on switching them and getting my real one.
That's been done.
He actually did it. Because all through this, there's been a diamond in the place where I always keep it.
All right, you got a strong boy, Phelps. Had him out looking for the real diamond.
What?
And the other guy, the old man, was out in the garage.
No.
Phelps tore up my office, phoned here to you.
Mr. Regan,
now, look, there's been 2 guys killed.
Mr. Regan.
Good evening, Pilgrim.
Where's your overcoat?
Stand still, please.
Yeah, my foot's in a crack.
Mr. Regan, this is John
Oh,
Allan.
can it, will you? I've seen him act one part already.
That's true. Mine is the only name that's real. This is my house, Mr. Regan.
Lawyer?
Yes, I came here to see him, Mr. Regan. I just got here before you
Be
did.
quiet, Agnes.
Well, I got it all now.
You won't keep it.
Phelps took his orders from you.
It's a waste of testimony.
You started this, spotted the gem switch, figured to cash in.
You're losing your chip.
Shut up, will you? I got aces. Hendricks outfoxed you. You never found the real diamond.
Hive in the hand draws blood.
Mr. Alden, don't...
Now, you keep out of this, Agnes.
She's not in it. You are.
That's all, Regan.
All right, come on, drop it. Drop it.
Go with that.
I guess I hit him with the paste one.
Huh?
Look, the diamond, it broke.
Yeah.
It was just luck. I have the other one, too. I thought Alden was honest. I came to tell him I found it in my husband's cider.
Well, that tears it. Come on, Priscilla. That docks the Mayflower. Well, the whole thing folded in like an elephant on a pogo stick. Yeah, the lawyer did it all right, both of them. When he spotted what Hendricks was up to with that diamond switch, he moved in, but not for his client. The jeweler, Miles Standish, alias Kelly, got bumped because he was the only one who could tell the real diamond from a phony. But Hendricks got wise to the muscle act, and so he got shot. Well, the Lion was real happy the way it worked out. That dame with the nerves wrote him a check. So he invited me out to Thanksgiving dinner. He offered me any part of the turkey that I wanted. I told him, but I got it anyway.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman and Jackson Gillis, produced by Sterling Tracy. Featured in tonight's story were Mary Lansing, Marvin Miller, Paul Freese, and Paul DeBove. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a burglary detail. For the past 18 weeks, a gang of safe men have been breaking into large grocery stores all over the city. They work fast. You can't localize their operations. Your job? Get them.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 16th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Wisdom. My name's Friday. It was 7:45 a.m. when I got to the service station on the corner. The phone booth.
City Hall.
2524, please.
Burglary, Rubles.
Hi, Dick. This is Friday. Romero there?
Hold on, Joe.
Thank you.
Hey, Romero, take two. Romero.
This is Friday, Ben.
Yeah, where you been?
Well, my car again. Something's wrong with that distributor. I'm going to leave it at the service station. I'll grab a streetcar down, huh?
Hey, hit again, Joe. This one makes 37 jobs.
Where at this time?
Wilson Brothers Market at Melrose and Green. Drilled the safe and walked out with $462.
Well, our stakeouts are doing a lot of good, aren't they? I'm worn out from last night.
I didn't get any sleep either. Just had time to go home and brush my teeth when this thing broke.
Okay. You said Melrose and Green?
Yeah, that's right. I won't wait for you. I'll go right on out there.
Okay.
Armstrong and Rubel just left.
Right. I can get over there as fast as I can.
Old man was down here bright and early. Things are jumping.
Okay. I'll see you later, huh?
Oh, Joe, just a minute.
Yeah.
Skipper just came in. What you got on the other end there? Friday. You on your way to Melrose and Green? That's right. The minute you get back, I want to see you two in my office. Right. I guess you heard him.
Yeah, I did.
Guess you could tell from the tone of his voice.
Yeah. Sounds a little upset. How's he look?
Same way.
For 18 weeks, Ben and I had been assigned to this same case. The burglary gang was victimizing only Wilson Brothers markets throughout the city and in surrounding towns adjacent to the city of Los Angeles. Their criminal activities had given them well over $100,000 stolen from these various markets. Additional officers were assigned from the Metropolitan Division, and the case had grown to large proportions. It was 12 minutes past 8 when I arrived at Melrose and Green Streets, the latest Wilson market to be victimized.
Same thing, Joe, just like all the rest.
Yeah. The crime lab find anything?
Been here and gone. They found a few particles of cloth, probably from the guy's gloves, some metal shavings for spectrographical analysis. Same as on all the other jobs.
Well, how'd they gain entry?
Same way, around front. Looks like a tire iron. Pried the door open.
How about the burglar alarm?
No problem. There's a ladder. Climb up and take a look.
Yeah.
See it?
Yeah, I see it. Cut the key leads again, huh?
Nothing's different, Joe. Just exactly the same. All around.
Well, that really tears it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
252 men on stakeout last night, and they know just which market to hit, one that isn't covered.
When you figure Wilson's got over 300 stores, we can't cover them all.
I think we might have some of the luck. We're sure overdue.
Nobody could be this lucky this long.
Well, they're out to break the record. Haven't turned up anything new at all, huh?
Not so far. I've been looking around. Come on.
Yeah. Rubels and Armstrong in the store?
Yeah, they're checking the back of the store, stock room, employees' locker room.
And how much was taken?
Told you on the phone, $462. Some checks, about $200 worth.
Well, this is Wednesday. I suppose the thieves have discontinued the weekend jobs?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Here's the box.
Yeah. Sure a good, clean job. A lot different than those first ones, huh?
Yeah, they've come a long way.
Well, the safe was certainly well lighted, wasn't it?
200-watt bulb up there. Still burning when we got here.
Doesn't do much good with all those boxes piled up over there in front of the window, though.
Manager says they weren't there when he closed up last night.
Well, nothing seems to bother them, does it? They move in, don't chance turning out the light. They just pile crates up between themselves and the street, and then they take their time drilling the box.
That's it. Here's the usual empty pop bottles, 3 of them.
Yeah, cool the bits with, yeah.
Hi, Friday. Didn't know you were here yet.
Well, hello, Rubles. How are you?
Maybe we got something.
Yeah?
Fished these out of the drain in the bathroom.
What do you got?
Looks like they tried to get rid of them. Some of the checks torn up and this fishing license ripped in two.
Well, could I see those?
Hey.
Charles W. Royal, issued last month.
Good chance he might have carried the license in his pocket and got it mixed up with the checks. First, maybe he was going to take the checks, but changed his mind, tore them up, the license with him.
Well, let's hope you're right, Dick. But it might just belong to some employee here.
Well, we've been kind of figuring these jobs might have an inside connection. Maybe this is it, huh?
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the break we've been looking for. We went back to the office and checked the name Charles W. Royal through R&I. No record. We contacted the management of the Wilson Markets. He had been an employee at the store which was just held up. He had been transferred 6 months prior to their Van Nuys branch. In checking back, we found that the Van Nuys Market was one of the first stores to be burglarized. He was placed under surveillance for several days, and during this period, another Wilson Market was burglarized. The officers conducting the surveillance accounted for all of Royal's time during the burglary. He was brought in for questioning and cleared of any complicity in the burglaries. Monday, September 28th, 8 a.m., we met with Captain Wisdom.
The reason for Royal's fishing license being in with those checks was because he left it behind at that store when he was transferred.
That's right. Manager of the store confirmed it. Said he kept it in a safe for him so it wouldn't get lost.
Well, that lead went nowhere.
None of them go anywhere. We don't get any leads.
Been no kickbacks on any of our teletypes, APBs, or radiograms.
Between Armstrong, Rubles, and Ben and I, the girls in the stats office think we're on the payroll down there. We're wearing out the cards, having to make runs on the gang's M.O. for us.
How about that last stuff Burton from CII sent down?
Well, we checked all 3 of them out. Nothing.
Boys in the crime lab got a lot of physical evidence if they could make something out of it.
That's just it. You can't make something out of nothing. You haven't got much up there. A few steel shavings off those safes, a couple of broken bits, handful of cotton fuzz they think is off the guy's gloves. You can't work miracles.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think we've overlooked anything, Captain. Every neighborhood in the vicinity of every burglary has been checked and rechecked.
And all you turned up was that one woman?
Yeah, the one that saw the 3 men out in back of the Wilson Market over on Vermont. She thought they worked there. Didn't know she'd witnessed a burglary when we told her.
Mm-hmm. She couldn't identify any of them, huh?
No, she couldn't.
I just checked with the sheriff's office. These burglaries are driving them crazy, too. No leads.
Boys from the parole office have been trying to give us a hand. We've checked out everything they sent us on dischargees and parolees. Nothing fits.
Well, did the markets seem to be cooperating, holding up their end as they were instructed?
Well, as far as we can tell, right to the letter, yeah.
All the safes that were concealed in any way have been moved out in a more conspicuous spot, all well illuminated.
The Wilson Company has bought better-made safes to replace the ones that were broken into. They're replacing their old models as fast as they can. Doesn't seem to stop them.
Yeah, all that's according to the book. Doesn't figure with all those precautions they'd be foolish enough to tip off the thieves.
What do you mean?
Here, take a look at this.
Yeah.
Larson and Gunn turned this up at that Venice Boulevard job night before last.
Mimeograph stakeout instructions. Huh?
That's right. Put out by the management of the markets. Every time we inform them of a stakeout night, they put these inter-store memos out.
Yeah.
That was for the purpose of informing all the different store managers of the police department's plans so they'd be sure and comply with our instructions.
Yeah.
Motive was okay, but the effects have been causing us more trouble than we know.
Well, weren't these destroyed after the store managers read them?
Apparently not. We notified the management of the stores to be staked out a week in advance so that they could quietly let the stores know about it. Whether we wanted the lights left on or turned off to move the safe out of hiding, all the various instructions.
And the management of the market chain just took it on themselves to send out these memoed sheets, huh?
And not only that, in checking the last couple of jobs, either these sheets were in the manager's desks or they were posted in the store someplace.
All the thieves had to do was go through a desk or check a bulletin board and they knew right where we'd be, huh?
Without this advance information, maybe it'll slow them down. Maybe we can write in on part of the luck. We're due.
Yeah.
Now, come on over here to the pin map. Well, here you are, Friday. A red pin for you and one for you, Romero.
Mm.
You put them in. I got calluses on my thumb from trying to keep up with those thieves.
Yeah. Venice Boulevard and Rockwell.
Mm-hmm.
Vermont and Marathon.
Yeah, just look at them on there. They're going to run us out of pins if we don't blow the whistle on them.
Well, I'm getting a little sick of it myself.
You take a good look at the map here.
Yeah.
All the red pins are these market jobs in and around here and through here.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, Wilson's got stores throughout most of Southern California.
Yeah.
They've hit in and around the metropolitan area, Pomona, Glendale, a couple of times with the beach cities. But look over here.
That's Eagle Rock.
Yeah. Now, for some reason, they're leaving Eagle Rock alone. There's 7 Wilson markets out there, and not one of them have been touched.
Well, maybe they'll hit there next, huh?
And we double-checked all cruiser units out there, told them to be doubly alert. Also to report any suspicious moves around any of the stores. Now, I want to report on any and all cars driving below normal speeds anywhere near those markets. Anything even remotely out of line. There's 7 stores in and around that area. Excuse me. Burglary wisdom. The highball. Who's that? They did? Colorado and Bryce. Yeah, right away. Yep. That was Lieutenant Vaughn, Highland Park. I was wrong. There's only 6 stores in Eagle Rock now.
What do you mean?
They knocked one over last night.
The preliminary investigation of the Wilson Brothers Market in Eagle Rock yielded no additional physical evidence, but it definitely showed that we were dealing with the same gang of thieves. In this last burglary, they got away with $1,852. 1:34 p.m. After 5 hours of continuous checking in the immediate neighborhood of the latest market to be burglarized, Ben and I located a Mrs. Olive Rebard. We felt sure that we'd reached a turning point in the case. Mrs. Rebard had seen 2 of the gang members at work in the Wilson Market at Colorado and Bryce in Eagle Rock. She agreed to come downtown and go through photographs of criminal suspects.
No. Not any of these.
Let's try the next 2 pages.
Certainly are a lot of them, aren't there?
Yes, ma'am. There's still a lot more to go here.
I see it. No, none of these.
Well, that finishes this book.
How many does that make that we've been through?
I believe this one makes 15.
Just looking at all those faces makes you wonder, are there any honest people?
Well, these books represent an accumulation of many years, you understand.
You keep pictures of everybody ever been in prison?
Well, within our jurisdiction, yes, and a great many more besides.
I see.
Ben, how about that Folsom book up there for 45 and 46?
All right. I'll put this one back.
Fine. 46, yeah, that's it.
All right, here we are. You ready, Mrs. Rebar?
All right. No, I don't believe it's any of these.
All right.
Turn the next page there.
How about these?
No. This one, no. That one fellow looked a little like one of them. I thought he did it first.
Which one was that?
This one.
Okay.
No, I was wrong. He looked familiar at first glance.
Well, now we told you before, Ms. Rebar, if any of these men, their ears, eyes, nose, chin, any part of them looks like any part of the men that you saw, we'd like to know that. We'll have our Sergeant Putoff up in our crime lab drop a composite for you.
You mean you put all the different features together?
Yes, ma'am. If you think it might help in any way, I mean, it'll certainly help us.
I didn't realize that you were that thorough.
Oh, we have to be.
Well, I'm just not that sure about any of their features. It was just like I told you, I didn't get too good a look at them, but I thought I might remember. There's so many pictures here.
Well, would you like to rest a little while, Ms. Rebar? We've been going at this thing for about 2 hours now.
No, that's all right. No, I want to help if I can.
I think I'll open this door a little, Joe.
All right.
Got a little draft in from the hall. Gets a little stuffy in here sometimes.
Thank you.
I wonder if you'd like a cold drink of some kind. Coke, something like that?
No, thank you. That's very kind. I don't care for one.
All right. Would you like to go on?
Yes, I do.
All right.
No. You understand that when I saw these men in the store, I had to look through the front window. They must have been at least 40 feet away from me. I had a shout to be heard.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
They didn't come over to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't believe that they were really those lightning burglars. Isn't that what the paper called them?
Yes, ma'am.
They were just as big as life. They're standing behind the meat counter. They even had on the butcher's apron. Still hard to believe, because they didn't act like burglars at all.
Sometimes they don't.
Well, the only thing that struck me funny was that anybody be working there on a Sunday. I've seen men in there before. It just didn't seem right that they'd be working there.
I wanted to get in to pick up a box of starch. They told me to come back Monday morning when they were open.
Well, if you could have seen over the counter from where you were standing, you would have seen the floor safe right there in the meat department. They were trying to open it.
I never would have known it. You sure you people couldn't have made a mistake?
No, ma'am, I don't think so. We've checked there, and there was no authorized employees in that store yesterday morning.
That's so. Well, must have been them then.
Yeah, we're pretty sure it was. Here,
let me help you there, Mrs. Rebar. These pages are stuck together.
Thank you.
There you are.
I've seen so many photographs, they're all beginning to look alike to me.
Mm-hmm. If you'd like to rest a while, that's fine. Maybe you'd like to go home and come back a little later with it.
You know something?
What's that, ma'am?
I'm positive now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know those men if I saw them.
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Once more, what appeared to first be a good lead dissolved into nothing. The stakeouts were continued. Everything possible was being done to apprehend them. The burglaries of the Wilson markets continued. On the night of October 3rd, officers D.B. O'Connell and P.W. Murphy were working a stakeout on one of the Wilson markets in Eagle Rock. At 2:33 a.m., they had observed a gray Ford Coupe, California license 9 Robert 9813, driving at normal speed until reaching the storefront and then slowing down perceptibly, showing unusual interest in the market. Lieutenant Armstrong and Sergeant Rubles checked the license number through DMV. The car was registered to a Clyde R. Bingham, 233 South Carmona Place in Eagle Rock. He was placed under surveillance while we made a thorough check into his background. We located him at the neighborhood bar on Colorado Boulevard. We talked to him for an hour.
So that's it. I'm not your man.
You sure you didn't drive past that Wilson market on Bellevue Avenue?
I didn't say I've never driven by it, but not on the night you said.
Well, have you driven by it on other nights?
I wouldn't remember that. I live out here, and I drive down Bellevue a lot, but I don't know if I've ever been by that market. Suppose I have.
We have your license number and the word of 2 officers who saw you.
I'm afraid they must be mistaken. You have the word of Benny and Walt. You just talked to them. I told you I was here on the night of October 3rd. I stayed here until almost daylight talking to Walt. He closed up at 2, and we sat around and talked.
Where'd you say your car was parked all this time?
Right out in front. Ben Walt told you that, too. I'm telling you, I never left this place the other night.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible you could have forgotten?
Not all 3 of us.
And you didn't loan your car to anybody?
No, sir. I never loaned my car. Stayed right out there in front.
What'd you say you did after this place closed?
As I said, I sat around and talked to Walt. He owns the place.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you talk about?
Oh, I don't know, this and that. I don't recall exactly.
Did you go to work the following day?
Yes, sir, I did.
Seems funny you'd sit up all night talking and then go to work.
I don't have to be to work until I please. You know, I'm my own boss.
Yeah, well, you run your business all by yourself, do you?
No, I have 2 secretaries. They make out checks, keep books.
What kind of business did you say you were in?
Business management. You know, the thing that bothers me is why you're asking me all these questions.
Routine investigation.
Doesn't sound very routine to me. I don't understand.
We're on an assignment. During the course of that assignment, it became necessary to interrogate you.
I still don't understand. Anything else you want to know?
No, sir. I think that pretty well covers it.
Something I'd like to know.
Yeah.
Is there a law against slowing down in front of a market?
Ben and I felt that Bingham was lying for some reason that we were not aware of. All efforts were made to determine that reason. We made a complete search of his residence. His relatives, friends, and associates were interrogated. The 2 men who had alibied for him were checked out. No evidence was obtained to connect him in any way with the Wilson market burglaries. The surveillance was continued on the 3 men. During the next 2 weeks, another market was burglarized. None of the 3 men could have been involved in any way. Another month went by. The burglaries continued unchecked. The newspapers had dubbed them the Lightning Bandits. There was only one exception to the title. By this time, they'd begun to repeat on markets, to hit again where they had burglarized a safe previously. December 3rd, 4 a.m., Ben and I were cruising the central area of the section not covered by stakeout.
I figure there's only one way to beat this thing.
Yeah, what's that?
Ask for a transfer before they offer us one.
Well, it seems like every way we turn, we're stopped.
No leads, nothing.
Here it is almost Christmas again. Those market thieves started last Easter.
Yeah, I know. Well, we got everything covered again tonight as best we can.
We could just keep all the markets covered at one time.
Well, that's been done a couple of times, you know that.
Yeah, I know that, but keep them covered all the time till we get to them. If we had the manpower, we could do it.
Yeah. You want to swing in close to the curb? Here's another market.
Yeah. You see anything?
No, nothing on this side. I can't see the safe in there, can you?
No.
Those vegetable counters are partially blocking it. Lights on, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this side's clear, too.
Rear of the store backs up against that other building, doesn't it?
Yeah, only a front and side entrance. You swing around again, will you? Make a U?
You see something?
No, I'm not sure. Just pull back up in front again, huh?
All right.
Okay, this is fine. You want to kill your engine?
Mm-hmm.
You hear that?
I'm not sure.
Come on. You hear it now?
No, it stopped.
Come on.
They're throwing vegetables at that front window.
They're trying to draw our attention here. Now, you cover the side. I'll try to force them to you.
Right. There's the news rack.
Right, I see it.
All right, hold it right there. Get your hands in the air. I got him, Joe.
You want to shake him down?
Yeah, right. All right, stand still.
Cover him, Joe. I'll see if there's any more besides these two.
Right.
Who tipped you off?
If we'd have had a tip, we'd have gotten you a long time ago.
That's it. Just these two.
Somebody must tip you off. You couldn't be this lucky.
Why not? You've had your share. The two men were taken into custody and were identified as Wilford Lawson and Thomas Greenfield. A check with R&I showed no previous record on either man. After a short interrogation, Wilford Lawson admitted his part in all of the burglaries of the Wilson Brothers markets. He steadily refused to give us any information as to the other possible members of the burglary gang. Thomas Greenfield was interrogated. He was the more timid of the two. He claimed that this was the first job he'd been on with Lawson, that he did not know of any other members of the gang, that he'd only served as lookout on this particular burglary, and that he was not deeply involved. In further investigation of the two suspects, Armstrong and Rubel found that they had been seen in the company of still another man. It was impossible to get any kind of lead on the remaining suspect. We took the matter up with Captain Wisdom. It was our combined belief that we should allow Thomas Greenfield to be released on the grounds that we believed his story about his slight part in the crimes. He was placed under close 24-hour surveillance. Thursday, December 6th. 2 days after we'd released Thomas Greenfield, we were called into Captain Wisdom's office.
Guess we played it the right way in letting Thomas go.
How do you mean?
Well, first of all, we passed one up last October. You remember Bingham? Guy driving slow past the market in Eagle Rock?
Yeah.
Well, he's the one we want. And these two letters, both postmarked today, we picked them up on that mail stop on Lawson.
Where are they from, Thomas?
Yeah, a couple of choice parts. Yeah, listen to this. Klein says to tell you he's not sore anymore. Ever since that mix-up, him and Walt and Benny decided this was the best way to play it. He says he don't want no part of what's yours. And then there's a lot more here. It says he'll get an attorney for Lawson, and he thinks he really put one over on us. Anyway, all three of them are in it all the way.
Well, how does Bingham figure in it? We had him under surveillance, didn't we?
You know, listen to this from this other letter. Oh, yeah, here it is. I've been talking with C.B. Clyde Bingham, getting real clever now using initials.
Yeah.
I've been talking with C.B. several times only on the phone. He's really not sore. He only laid out since that time. He figured he might be hot. That's enough, isn't it?
It's all there. It adds.
Okay, you got one to roll on.
Yeah.
Go out and pick him up. This time we'll keep him.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 22nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
All three suspects, Wilford George Lawson, Clyde Robert Bingham, and Thomas Llewellyn Greenfield, were filed on for burglary in the second degree. Wilford G. Lawson was filed on for 12 counts, Clyde R. Bingham for 6 counts, Thomas L. Greenfield for 3 counts, sentences to run consecutively. They are now serving their time in the state penitentiary. In view of the fact that the authorities were unable to prove the defendants were armed at the time of the burglaries and the stores were not inhabited, they could only be filed on for burglary in the second degree. Second-degree burglary is punishable by a term of not less than 1 nor more than 15 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wish to gratefully acknowledge the Michael Award presented by the Academy of Radio and Television Arts and Sciences. The Academy voted Dragnet the finest program of its kind. It is with deep humility that Dragnet accepts this citation, the highest award bestowed by the radio and television industries.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy next over most NBC stations.
Novak For Hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak For Hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak For Hire. It's easy to rent yourself out and you make a few bucks, but sooner or later you get burned. It doesn't make any difference whether you're a man or a mouse. Because down on the waterfront in San Francisco, they build the traps both ways. Oh, everything looks easy, but sometimes they fool you, like putting shatterproof glass in a fire alarm box. And you gotta watch out every minute. Because down here, if you reach out to help a panhandler, the guy'll take your arm and hand you back the dime. I rent boats and deal any place. I'll give you a good trade-in on a second-hand soul. Works out all right. Sometimes you're on top of the heap, if you like the kind of heaps they got down here. But you got to get your laughs in a hurry, because you find out right away you're not going to make any more headway than a hummingbird in a wind tunnel. I found that out Wednesday afternoon. Must have been about 3 o'clock. The sun was out down at the far end of the bay. It put a head on the clouds down there and put the rest of the sky in a good mood. Over across the bay, it was a warm, easy yellow that made you think of a pound cake full of eggs. It was too nice a day to work inside, so I closed shop and started down to a pool hall on Market Street. I never got there, because on the way I stopped by the laundry to pick up a couple of shirts. It started right there, when the clerk walked over to me. He was full of fizz and the sort of guy who gets a bottle of hand lotion for his birthday.
Well, Mr. Novak, is it?
I don't know, is it?
Yes. My, we have a nice day, haven't we?
Yeah, I want some laundry.
Not any better than yesterday, though. Not a bit better than yesterday.
What do you do? Give them all a rating? How about the laundry, huh?
Yes. Let's have the ticket.
All right.
$4.28. That should be right down here.
It's just a couple of shirts.
28. Yes, here it is. That'll be $1.84, please.
Well, sounds like a fair price, but I'll take my own.
Own?
This isn't mine. It's too big.
Are you sure?
Look, I had a couple of white shirts. Now, you better look again.
Well, the tickets match, you see. $4.28. You must be wrong, Mr. Novak.
Now, look, fella, shirts don't swell. They shrink. The package is too big.
Too big? Oh, well, we better open it. Yes. Well, see, I can wrap them again if you don't worry.
Yeah. It's not my shade of pink.
Oh. I guess it's not yours.
Thanks.
here's some men's clothing, too. How about these shirts?
If I were a jockey, I'd take them. I want my own.
Well, yes, of course you do. Oh, goodness, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, you got a problem. How about these shirts, though?
Oh, we've mixed up the tickets, and someone has your package.
Who?
I don't know. Maybe we can check on the collar markings. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes, now, let me check in the book. Here we are. This laundry belongs to Earl Hayes.
Yeah, where's he live?
Are you going up there?
I want my shirts back.
Yes. He lives at 321 Dorset Place.
Yeah, give me that bundle.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Novak, and please apologize to Mr. Hayes. I'm so angry at myself, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, be careful you don't stop a hole in the floor. See you later. When I left, he was wringing his hands and shifting from one foot to another like a small kid in a department store. On the way up to Dorset Place, I looked at the bundle. There were a couple of women's blouses and 4 loud-colored shirts. 2 of them looked like a Navajo blanket somebody'd sewed buttons on. I tried to wrap up the bundle, and about 10 minutes later, I got to 321 Dorset Place. It was up on Telegraph Hill, and it was an old place somebody'd remodeled. It was supposed to be modernistic, but it reminded you of a chromium-plated tool shed. Apartment 2A was on the second landing. I went up there and knocked. Earl Hayes didn't answer the door, but you couldn't quarrel with what you got. She was in her 30s and pushing 40 hard enough to bruise it. But she looked good standing there in the doorway, long and lean enough to make a greyhound turn in his card. She was wearing green lounging pajamas, and you've seen bananas in looser skins. You could see the bay behind her through the window, and she stood there brushing back enough red hair to sell to a mattress factory. As she pushed the door back, she started to smile. Her lips were a pale red color and moist enough to put a desert on its feet, and you could tell she thought she used them to talk when you got tired of everything else. Standing there in front of her, you got the same feeling you would if somebody pressed the treble and bass key of an organ at the same time.
Hello. What are you selling?
Shirts. Is your husband home?
Should I have one?
I don't know. It depends on the climate.
Come on in anyway.
All right.
Who are you?
My name's Novak. I'm looking for a guy named Earl Hayes.
You better sit down.
It won't take me that long. He's got my shirts.
Mr. Novak, you don't look like the kind who'd lose a shirt.
I don't want jokes, lady. There was a mix-up down at the laundry. I got Hayes' stuff, and he walked off with mine.
That is stuff in the bundle?
Yes, it is.
All right, put it on the table here. We'll see. I don't think you're smart, Mr. Novak.
Huh?
Where's the other shirt?
You got them all right there.
There's one missing.
All right, see the laundry. All I want's a trade.
There must have been another shirt in this bundle.
Maybe it was too dirty. The boy couldn't clean it that fast. Now, look, friend, if you want to argue, go ride a streetcar. I came up for 2 white shirts. Now, where are they?
I suppose Earl Hayes has them.
And where's he?
I'll send you to him, but I'm afraid you won't like him.
Then I'll be lonely. Just tell me where he is.
2 floors up. That'll give you time to work over that story.
Yeah.
Because he'll know you're lying. He'll want to know about that shirt.
What makes it that important?
The fact that it's missing. I'll find him upstairs. I hope it works into a friendship.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will. He'll know you're lying, and you'll get tossed around like a green salad.
Is he tougher than you?
No, he's just not as versatile. Good luck, darling.
When she said good luck, you knew she was just being polite and didn't mean it any more than the hangman when he tells you to watch your step. When I left, she was over by the window, leaning back against the table, as shy as a runaway boxcar. And you got the idea she'd be fun to know if you had a lot of money and an oxygen tent. Well, I rolled up the bundle, and I started for the 4th floor. I knocked on the door, and when it opened, I knew I had high bid for trouble. I could see into the room, and there were 3 or 4 gonifs sitting inside. They had a dull, anxious look, as if they were trying to find another worm to pull apart. They were the sort of guys who might have been born, but you wouldn't want to bet on it. The one in the door was a big guy with bushy eyebrows that met near his nose, and the way they ran across his face, you got the idea he got tired of the old ones and grafted on a vine instead. His face wasn't much better. It looked more like a relief map than a face. It was pockmarked and the color of moldy bread, and you knew if a woman kissed him, she'd get blood poisoning.
Hello, Novak.
You Earl Hayes?
Enough to suit you. Come in.
You're good at guessing names.
So a little bird told me.
Yeah, I saw her. She's got nice feathers.
Where's the shirt?
Here's the bundle. Take your pick.
I don't like any of these, Novak.
That's all I got.
Where's the shirt, Novak?
Just wear a collar, mister. You don't need a shirt. Yeah, I won't need a memory for you, fella.
Suit yourself. Tell me about those shirts. Hello, Well, come on in. We got your boy.
Who is he?
you made a deal, you know his name.
I never saw him before, Max.
He looks different now. He came up with some of your shirts.
That's true. I went by the laundry. Said a guy named Novak picked up the shirts.
Except one of them's missing.
Couldn't be missing. They're all in one bundle.
Ask him then, but do it nice. He's touchy.
He doesn't have to ask. Now, look, mister, if you're Earl Hayes, I want my shirts.
Give us the other one, we'll make a trade.
You got the best deal you're going to make, Hayes. Now, I want those shirts.
Get yourself a loom, then. All right, Joe, get his on.
Let go.
Wait a minute, Max. Sit down, Hayes, or we'll take your ticket away. That's it. Now get his other arm over there. One of you keep your eye on Hayes. All right, Novak. It's you or Hayes. Make up your mind.
I got it made up about you.
You're gonna tire first, Novak. Where's that shirt?
I don't know. Try Hayes. He looks healthy.
Hold him up. He's slipping. You need handles? Hold him up. You're running out of chances, Novak. Where's that shirt?
I don't know.
Hold him up. Why? If you can't find the reason, don't. All right, Hayes. How's your temper?
I slid down to the floor so fast I almost went under the varnish, and I spent the next couple of hours checking on the termites. It was getting dark when I woke up, and right away the room was full of company. The host was Earl Hayes, and he was lying on the floor as dead as a cracked bell. He was over by the desk, lying on his back and grabbing at the rug like a Hoover vacuum. The hair was wet against his head, and the perspiration on his forehead started to break up and run down like tears, so you got the idea he cried out of his hairline instead of his eyes. He didn't seem pained or put out. He was smiling a little as if he realized he had a better deal. Over by the door, Hellman was talking to a couple of coppers. He sent them downstairs and walked over to me.
You woke the neighbors, Novak.
I don't snore that loud, Hellman.
You made the noise with Hayes?
Yeah. How'd I get my face this way?
You look better to me, Novak. How long you been here?
A couple hours.
That fits in. The coroner's already been here. He says Hayes was beat to death an hour ago with that poker out of the fireplace.
You better check on the prints.
I already sent it down. You slept too long.
Oh, Inspector. We came by for the step.
He's right there. Tell the morgue to keep him out till I get down.
Come on, Joe. That's it. Sure is a little guy.
I'll bury easy. Tell him I'll check in at 8.
Sure will, Inspector.
All right, Novak, tell me all about it.
I came up here for a shirt.
That's not hard to get. What about Hayes? How'd the beef go?
It went both ways with a guy named Max. You better talk to him.
I like you better.
Oh, you're not bright, Hellman. I've been out of the game for 2 hours.
Look, big shot, don't push me around. You got a story, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. You could have taken Hayes and run into trouble yourself.
That's the hard way, Hellman. I don't like your whip. Get another boy.
You'll do, Novak, and you'll do it all downtown. Yeah, Hellman talking. What do you mean you can't send him up yet? Who's in charge down there? Give me the guy in charge. Huh? Well, 2 guys just came up here. You must have sent them. They were here. You must have sent them. Yeah. Well, you can send them for me.
Don't tell me, Hellman.
Oh, it couldn't happen.
No, it couldn't happen to anybody but you, Hellman. It's going to look real good, too, when they find out you let 2 strangers walk in and steal a body.
I don't understand it.
It's simple, Hellman. You better go in and rob that bed right now. Because when they're through kicking you around down at headquarters, you're going to need a sling. And with a figure like yours, it'll take a good-sized bed sheet. When Hellman hung up the phone, he turned the color of early summer squash. He stood over to the window, running his hands through his hair. He left the window and stood in the center of the room for a minute. His coat was open, and his stomach was piled up on his belt in nice, even layers. It reminded you of a rolled-up garden hose. And the way his pants fit him when he walked, you got the idea somebody'd sewed an anvil in the lining. After a while, he came over and started to talk to me. He kept pulling his ear, and in the dim light there, it looked like the cross-section of an eggplant.
I'm still going to hold you, Novak.
You'd look better with a hot potato, Hellman.
I'm going to hold you for 12 hours. In the meantime, that body will show up.
He didn't look that active to me. Wake up, Hellman. You've been backed into a corner. You better get a body first.
Look, Novak, I know the guy was dead. I'm not going to sit on my hands.
It's the most fun you'll ever have.
I'm going to check those prints, and I'm going to find out why you were up here.
I came to see Hayes. The laundry pulled a switch, and I came up for shirts. Checked with the guy at the laundry.
Yeah.
And on the way downstairs, stop at 2A.
Why?
There's a souped-up redhead down there. You can ask her a question.
You can do that with any woman.
You can ask her who Max is. I went there to find Earl Hayes. She answered and sent me here.
There's only one thing wrong with that story.
Huh?
There's no redhead in 2A. I checked all the apartments. 2A's been empty for 3 months. The people are out of town. I think you dreamed her.
I don't dream that good in the afternoon. Look, Hellman, I'm walking out of this place, and all you can do is hear the echo.
I want to see you go, Novak. Maybe you'll do something wrong, and I'll track you down.
You couldn't track down a live bear in a telephone booth.
I'll make a try on you, mister, and when I'm through, there'll be enough to put you right in that gas chamber.
They can save money and do the same thing.
Huh?
They can lock me up in the same closet with you. When I left, Hellman was wandering around like smoke in a drafty room. I picked up Earl Hayes' shirts and ducked by the laundry, but the clerk was gone and the place was closed tighter than the lid on a city scandal. Well, I tried to think back, but nothing made sense. In the first place, what made that shirt so important? And why did the laundry clerk have the wrong address for Earl Hayes? And the main hooker was that body disappearing. Why? If Max killed him, they were in the clear. Why take a gamble like that just for laughs? I knew I had to get some answers pretty soon because Hellman wasn't an easy guy. He was a tough, hard cop with a heart big enough to hide behind a piece of birdseed. Well, I had a couple of places to go, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy, and he used to be a smart one, except he didn't like the San Francisco fog and worked out one of his own. I finally found him in the hunt room at the Bellevue Hotel. The crowd was at one end, and he was down at the other. I found out why.
Make it one for my baby and one more for the road.
Now, wait a minute, Jocko.
Ah, Patsy, I'm singing a little sentimental ballad.
All right, Jocko, now you've had enough.
Patsy, I'm as sober as the next man. I've been drinking since 8 o'clock this afternoon, and I'm as sober as the next man.
Well, stop it, will you?
Patsy, you know I hate whiskey. But do you realize that 85% of the human body is liquid?
Yeah.
Now, is there any sane reason why all that should be water? Of course not. It isn't fair. That's why we have communists.
Jocko, I'm in trouble.
Of course you are. Knowing you, Patsy, is like walking hand in hand with a moral pygmy.
All right.
It's true, Patsy. You have no moral sense. All you have is a small bundle of regrets, something which you drag out periodically as proof of your decency.
Will you listen?
But you're not even decent enough to regret the things you've done. From some of your conversations about the only things you regret are the things you haven't done. The only reason you haven't caused more trouble is that you're not fleet-footed enough.
All right.
You're hopeless, Patsy. You're like some overripe planet, disemboweled and thrown from the skies. You don't know where you're going, and you can't remember where you've been. Your only joy is motion, and your only sensation are heat and cold.
You all through, Jocko?
Yes. What kind of trouble?
Hellman wants me for a dead guy.
Where is he?
He was up on Telegraph Hill, but he's gone now.
He didn't die long, did he?
Somebody took the body away.
That's a funny thing to collect.
Oh, none of the story lays right. The guy's name was Earl Hayes. There was a laundry mix-up, and I went up there to trade.
Yes?
Now, look, I want you to hop down and find out everything you can about Earl Hayes. Find out who his friends are. Find out where he's from. And see if there's a guy named Max anywhere, will you?
Where are you going?
I gotta find a girl.
I felt that way myself earlier tonight.
Will you hurry, Jocko? We don't have time to run your love life.
Yes, well, time is a minor drawback anyway. Good night, lover.
It was nearly 11 when I walked out of the bar, and the way things were going, I couldn't beat a vagrancy rap with a pocket full of annuities. I had to find that girl someplace, but it wasn't going to be easy. You might as well try to French fry a kettle of bones. I went back up to that apartment to see if she left a pointer anywhere. Hellman had a copper out in front, but he was sitting in somebody's new Nash reading a comic book. I went all through the apartment, and on the way out, I spotted the matches in the wastebasket. The folder had been used up, and on the outside it said Bonton Club, Duval Street, Key West, Florida. Well, that was the first break I got. Most people use their matches fast, so if she was using Key West matches, it must have meant something. I got onto a phone booth and started calling up the hotels. Finally, a hotel up on Taylor said they had a Miss Rhoda Warren on the register from Key West, Florida. For $5 a bellhop will tell you anything, so he said she was a redhead. I still didn't know, and when I went up there, she wasn't in. Well, I had to get back to my place for Jocko's call, and when I walked in, I got sorry about that $5.
Hello, Mr. Novak. You keep bad hours.
So do you, and your name's Rhoda Warren.
You like the name?
Yeah.
Go ahead and use it. It's a phony.
How about Max?
I don't even know him.
When you called him today, it was a wrong number.
Oh, please, Mr. Novak. You're not big enough for menace.
No?
No, you're like everybody else on the waterfront. You got some muscles, a few stage whispers, and 30 cents in your pocket. So don't try to make a sale.
Except you'd like to buy that shirt.
If you want to sell it.
What makes it worth $1,000?
Your imagination. 500 will buy it.
You're bad on guesses. 500 and Max will do it.
Look, I don't have to deal with you, darling. You're a pauper on paper and in your pocket. So I can just sit tight while you sell or go broke.
Where's Max?
Sell him out. If I were in a hole, I'm not. You are.
All right.
Let go of my arm.
I need some help, lady.
I don't know whether you're making love or trouble. Either way, let go of my arm.
Have you figured out yet?
Please, you're hurting my arm.
Where's Max? Come on, I'll twist you until the skin comes loose. Where is he?
Please don't.
All right.
It's your friend, anyway.
Yeah, Novak talking. Yeah, I've been out all evening. Whereabouts? Yeah, well, he can't use it anymore. Where are you, the Compton? Yeah, thanks.
The laundry clerk?
Yeah, he found that shirt.
Tell him not to lose his own. And wish him good luck.
Will he need it?
Well, maybe not. But he ought to take it while it's cheap.
I knew it wouldn't do any good to press her for Max now. If she was going to tip her mitts, she'd do it on her own. I left my place and grabbed a cab for the piers. I got out near Market and walked over to the laundry. The back window opened up like a hunk of sky after a bad rain. I found the shirt lying out on the table. It looked like the rest of Earl Hayes' shirts, except for one thing. The collar was full of writing, a few letters and a lot of numbers. I took them down, left the shirt, and headed for my place. I got one of those shirts from that bundle and copied in some of the same numbers. Then I picked up a cab for Rhoda Warren's hotel. For another fin, the bellhop went blind, and I got into her room about 12:30. Her room was empty, but her bags were packed on the bed. I took a 60-40 chance and planted the shirt in the bottom of one of the bags. I told the bellhop to tip me off when she came in, and I started back to my place to wait for Jocko's call. I did about as well as a bottle of scotch in a Louisville bar. A squad car picked me up at the corner and said Hellman had a call out for me. About 20 minutes later, we pulled up to Pier 19. Hellman was waiting there, moving around like a pea in a boiling stew.
Hello, Novak. Walk me down the pier.
Find a crutch. What's on your mind, Hellman?
Walk me down the pier.
All right, but I won't take your arm.
They found the body.
How? Radar?
Almost. The Coast Guard boat spotted him floating in the bay. They radioed in. We're hauling them up now.
Yeah. We're all busy. I found a shirt, too.
Well, we may not need it. Those fingerprints worked out just right.
Well, if they're mine, it's too pat, Hellman. You're too smart a cop to buy that kind of plant.
I'm a smart enough cop to hold you, now that we got Earl Hayes. Here we are. Yeah, got him down there?
Yeah, we're passing them up. Grab a hold of him.
Here, I'll get him.
All right, Paul.
Here he comes. There.
Well, that water sure changed him, Hellman.
There's a mistake. He read his identification. He said it was Earl Hayes.
Another plant, Hellman. He's the laundry clerk.
What was he doing out in the bay?
Maybe that's the way they do the laundry now. Well, I'm going home, Hellman. You better stand on his chest.
Huh?
That way they can't steal him without taking you, too. Well, that 60-40 was beginning to pay off. Somebody was gathering up the loose ends, and it was going to be easier now because things were getting tight. But you can say that for a lot of wedding rings. So I bummed a ride, and I got to my place about a half hour later. I had some trouble there because the cop on duty wanted to take me down to Pier 19 again. He looked wistful, so I told him about a place down the street where he might catch a peeping Tom, and I finally got rid of him long enough to get up to the room. As I walked in the door, the phone was ringing. Yeah.
Hello, Patsy. This is Jocko.
What'd you find out?
Earl Hayes was popular. Anybody could have killed him.
For instance?
There's a lot on him in the Chronicle morgue. He's wanted for smuggling.
Yeah? What else?
He had a girlfriend. Her picture's here.
What'd she look like?
Oh, I haven't had enough experience.
It's the same one, I guess. What else?
And Earl Hayes once served a prison term with a man named Max Stoffer.
That's our boy. What do you got on him?
He lives here now, and he runs a business out on Van Ness Avenue.
What kind of business?
Oh, it's going to sound funny. He runs a funeral parlor.
Well, what does that prove?
It doesn't prove a thing. Just because you're a perfume salesman, you don't have to smell pretty.
When Jocko hung up, everything began to slip into place. I could see now why everybody wanted that shirt, and the reason why Earl Hayes disappeared was 10 feet tall. I called Hellman. He said he knew all about Max Stoffer, and we had a squad car on the way out. I met him at the corner of Geary and Taylor, and we rode out to Van Ness. Max Stoffer's funeral parlor was over near Pine. When we pulled up, The lights were out except for a lamp in the front room. Hellman walked in the front door without knocking, and we turned in where the light was. It was a big night for stiffs, and there were 3 or 4 caskets along the wall. In the center, over near the fireplace, there was a casket on wheels. The plate on the outside said a man named Peter Dawson had the lease. Hellman was about to start upstairs when a door in the back opened.
Hello, Novak. What are you doing here? Is the man with you dead?
Not too dead to talk to you, Stuffer. He's Inspector Hellman from Homicide. The bag looks heavy.
Is he talking to you or me, Max?
Where's she going?
I'm putting her on a train, Novak. Do you care?
It's up to Hellman. He wants you for killing Earl Hayes.
I thought he disappeared.
I'll add on the laundry clerk, too.
After I visit the train.
You put her on that train, she'll get off at the next station, Stuffer.
Huh?
She gave you a bad story. That shirt you got's a phony.
Wait a minute.
Save yourself some time, mister. Check her bag.
Oh, he's crazy, Max.
Make the odds, fella.
Let me see that bag.
Take a look. He's trying to stampede you, Max.
Give it here.
No, underneath there. The other side.
There's no shirt in here. What are you trying?
I don't know how it got there, Max. He must have put it there honest. I don't know how it got there. Something crazy's happened.
You don't sound sure.
Please, Max. Hey, Max, stay away. I gave you the right shirt. Max, leave me alone.
Take her, copper. Take her for the laundry guy. I'll read about you, lady.
Max, you're crazy. You're crazy to tell him.
I'll tell him all about it. I'll tell you every word.
All right, don't forget yourself, big shot. Don't forget to tell him what you did with Earl Hayes.
There's nobody.
Oh, you silly fool. You silly fool. Don't you know why they're here?
Shut up.
You'll open them all. You better tell him now. He's in there, Hellman. He's in there with Peter Dawson.
You had a chance, baby.
Leave me alone, Max. Leave me alone or I'll break you up. Can't win them all, Max.
Put away that gun. Get away from her.
Yeah, don't need the gun anymore.
No. Pick it up, copper.
Well, you had a big night, lady.
Yeah. What happened, Novak? You put that shirt in there and you lied to him.
Yeah.
You lied to him and he thought I did. He thought I lied to him.
What's the difference? As long as you killed him, you still get a prize. The next morning was easy for Hellman. He shook the girl for the story on those shirts. The markings on the collar were bill of lading numbers on stuff going to the islands. Everybody was being watched, so they had to handle it that way. Earl Hayes used to leave the shirts in that laundry, and each time somebody along the line marked one of the shirts. Hayes took the shirts to Max, and he got the information to the right people in the islands. Out there, they had a line on what to hijack. Most of the stuff was gold, and it was a good game for everybody, until that laundry clerk made a goofy mistake. He got the bundles mixed, and he left one shirt out. When Hayes picked up the wrong bundle, the girl and Max thought a double cross was underway. After Max worked me over and killed Hayes, he went down to the laundry shop, and he couldn't find the shirt. He could only think of one thing. Hayes had the shirt on. So he got him out of that apartment. Once he had him out, he figured the easy thing to do was to make him disappear for good. So he put him in a casket with another guy on his way to the boneyard. In the meantime, the clerk found the shirt and called me. The girl overheard the conversation and figured the laundry clerk had the shirt with him. She got in a beef and killed him. She went down to that laundry after me and picked up the shirt. Well, from there on, the cards fell the wrong way. Well, Hellman asked only one question. That laundry clerk was an innocent guy. Wasn't it too bad he got knocked off? Oh, I don't know. When you think of how many buttons you lose in a year, it doesn't seem so bad.
Novak For Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and...
Fatima Cigarettes is proud to present its Academy Award-winning radio program. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the homicide detail. A young mother is murdered in bed while her 7-year-old son sleeps by her side. The killer was vicious and cunning. Your job? Get him. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
The size is the same. They now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. They're extra mild, with a better flavor and aroma. Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima, best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, July 9th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 11:25 p.m. when we got to 543 West Bixel Street. Front door.
Homicide? That's right. This is Friday. My name's Romero.
Klein, Unit 69.
How are you?
Partner's Thomas. He's in with the victim's mother and son. Back this way, sleeping porch.
Okay.
What's the story?
Yeah, really a nasty mess. Looks like a shotgun. Victim's face is half gone.
What's the name?
Josephine Stevens, 28 years old.
What do you got so far?
Not much. Her mother's in a state of shock. Talked to the young boy for a minute. Pretty terrible. Here's the sleeping porch.
Dear God.
Yeah. You got a little kid by her side. It knocks the props out from under you.
What do you got on it?
Seems as Josephine Stevens and her 7-year-old boy was sleeping in the bed when it happened. Haven't been able to fill it all out yet, but from what the youngster told us, it happened about 30 minutes ago.
I'd say it was a shotgun, too, wouldn't you, Joe?
Yeah, looks like it.
You can see by the head of the bed here, it looks like shotgun pellets.
Yeah.
The screen in the door here looks like it was recently torn.
Yeah, Thomas and I noticed that, too. We made an immediate search of the area. Didn't turn up anybody. Backyard, round the side, shrubbery, didn't find anything.
Yeah?
We were careful not to step off onto the soft earth anywhere around. Didn't want a chance to destroy any prints or anything.
That's fine.
Did you talk to the girl's mother at all, Klein?
Very little. She's still hysterical. Doesn't seem to know what she's saying. Couldn't tell us very much.
Yeah, well, let's step into the next room, huh?
Room's just the way we found it. Nothing out of order. Dresser drawers are all closed. Room hadn't been prowled.
No, it doesn't look like the work of a burglar or a prowler.
Well, a burglar or prowler wouldn't be carrying a shotgun either, would he?
The only thing Thomas and I found were they cut in the screen, the gate around the side of the house there. It was open.
Crime lab been called?
Haven't had time to do it right now.
No, never mind. I'll take care of it. I want to call in anyway. Do they have a phone here?
Right in the kitchen there on that table.
Okay, thank you. I figure we could use some help, don't you?
Yeah. They're right there to your left.
Yeah, I see it. Thank you.
City Hall.
2643, please.
2643? Crime lab, Allan.
This is Friday, G.
Yeah, Joe.
We're at 543 West Bixel. Got a homicide. We're going to need prints, photographs, a whole deal, Jay. Looks like the woman was killed with a shotgun.
Let me double-check that address, Joe. 543 West Bixel.
Yeah, that's right.
You got a phone out there?
Yeah, it's Hollywood 93199.
We'll get right on it, Joe.
Thanks. Say, Jay, could you transfer me to 2521, please?
Right. Operator? 2521. 2521?
right, Sanchez? Sanchez, this is Friday.
What'd you find out there?
Oh, it's a bad one. Shotgun killing. Haven't got too much yet. We're going to have some help.
What do you need?
We need somebody to cover the area. We don't know what we got yet. Talk to the witnesses, neighbors, cover the parked cars.
Right.
Will you send out a broadcast for us? Alert all units to be on the lookout for a person or persons with a shotgun in their possession.
Take care of it right away. How many men you think you need?
Well, at least 4 crews. Could you get them out right away?
Okay, anything else?
No, I'll fill them in when they get here. Thanks a lot, Sanchez.
Right, Joe.
All right, bye.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
Klein says we could talk to the youngster.
You don't think it'd do any good to talk to Mother? Huh?
She's still in bad shape. Imagine she'll be all right in a little while, but I think you just wasted time right now.
Well, I forgot something.
What's that?
I forgot to call the coroner.
I'll take care of it for you.
Well, would you take the boy into the front part of the house for us?
Sure.
Fine. Then if you'll just call Sanchez down in homicide downtown, he'll notify the coroner for us.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Joe, you want to see something break your heart?
Yeah, what's that?
There's some blood on the floor there, leading from the sleeping porch to this bedroom here.
Yeah. Look like small footprints, huh?
They are. Little boys.
Well, let's go in the front room.
This is a boy, 7 years old, name's Charles.
Right. Thanks, Connie.
I'll make that call for you right away, Friday.
Hello, son.
What happened to my mommy?
I'm sorry. You better take it, Joe.
Yeah. Come over here to me, son. Charles, is that your name?
Charlie.
Well, my name's Joe, Charlie.
Yes, sir. Mr. Joe?
Well, it's Joe Friday, son.
Mr. Friday, are you a policeman?
Yeah, that's right, Charlie. Now, that other man in the uniform, Officer Klein,
Yes, sir.
he said you might be able to tell us what happened here. Do you feel like talking about it, son?
Mr. Friday, do you know what happened to my mommy?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out, son. We'd just like to ask you a few questions.
She's hurt bad, isn't she? Did she talk to you? She wouldn't talk to me. Grandma and those other policemen wouldn't let me stay in there.
Well, can you tell us what happened here?
You want me to tell you like I told the other policemen?
If you would, please.
I wish you'd let me go in and see Mommy. She could tell you a lot better than I can.
Well, she's hurt kind of bad, son. We just thought that maybe you'd tell us.
Well, we were sleeping in the bed on the back porch.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to bed, and Mommy was reading me a story. And then I heard this man at the screen door.
Did you see the man, Charlie?
No, I didn't. Mommy wouldn't let me.
Well, how do you mean, son? How do you know it was a man, then?
Somebody was cutting the screen at the door. I thought it was a man.
But you're not sure? You didn't see him?
No, sir, I didn't see anybody. It was dark outside.
You heard somebody cutting the screen, though, is that right?
Yes, sir. Then Mommy sat up in bed. I started to sit up, too, but she wouldn't let me. She pushed me back down and said, keep down.
Mm-hmm. Can you remember exactly what she said, Charlie?
She said just to keep down. That's all she said.
Well, then what happened?
I heard this big gun, and Mommy fell down in the bed again. I could tell she was cut. I could see blood all over her.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to talk to her, but she wouldn't talk to me. So then I went to get Grandma.
Now, after you heard the gun, did you hear anything else?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, did you hear anybody running outside the house? Anything like that?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I got up and went into Grandma's room. I was awful scared. I don't know why Mommy wouldn't talk to me. She always used to when I was scared.
Well, now, can you think of anything else that you might be able to tell us, son?
No, sir. I just don't know why anybody would hurt my Mommy. She's so good. She never hurts anybody.
Where's your father, Charlie?
I don't know where he is. They don't live together anymore now.
Mm-hmm. How long has it been since you saw your father, son?
Just last Sunday it was. Yesterday, I guess. I see him every Sunday.
Well, do you have any idea who might want to hurt your mother?
No, sir. Nobody.
All right. What do you think, Ben?
Charlie.
Yes, sir?
Did your mother and father seem to argue with one another very much?
Before we moved here to Grandma's house, they used to argue all the time. That's when we lived in the apartment.
Is that why you moved over here, son?
Yes, sir, that's partly it. Mama had to work, and she didn't want to leave me alone here, so we moved over to Grandma's house.
Mm-hmm. Do you think your father would ever hurt your mother? Did he ever say anything about ever hurting her?
My daddy was always so good to me. He used to buy me all kinds of things. I don't think he was ever mean to anybody.
See? Do you remember your mother ever saying she was afraid of anybody?
No, sir. She was never afraid of anybody.
How do you know that, son?
She and Grandma used to always tell me that I'm the man of the family. As long as I'm around, they're not scared of anybody.
Oh, I see.
But when you talk to Mama, you won't tell her, will you?
Tell her what, son?
She always says that big men don't cry about things. When Grandma came out on the porch, she started to cry, and she took me into her room, then she cried some more. I guess I cried a lot, too. When you talk to Mommy, you won't tell her that, will you?
No, we won't.
I've never really known. Is that right? Do big men ever cry?
Yes, son. They cry.
"11:45 p.m. The crime lab men arrived and went to work. They found 3 shotgun pellets embedded in the wall to the right and above the head of the victim's bed. 2 additional lead pellets were removed from the bedstead above the pillow on the right side of Josephine Stevens' bed. This fact, in conjunction with the position of the hole ripped in the screen door, proved that the victim was sitting up in bed at the time of the shooting. This fact, too, showed why the 7-year-old boy lived and his mother died. Further investigation showed that the fatal shot was fired from outside through the hole in the screen door. The search of the surrounding area failed to yield the murder weapon or any additional physical evidence. The neighbors were all checked. They could add nothing to what we already knew. The few who had heard the blast from the shotgun thought it was backfire from a passing car. Units in the area of the murder picked up 14 possible suspects on the street and in the neighborhood at the time of the killing. They were all checked out and cleared of any connection with the crime. Josephine Stevens' mother, Mrs. James Edwards, was in a near state of collapse, but she managed to give us a statement. Her story corroborated that of 7-year-old Charles Stevens. Supplemental broadcasts and an all-points bulletin were put out to try and locate the killer. Ben and I drove over to 1543 East Workman Street to check out the husband of the murdered woman. Well, this is it, huh?
Yeah, White House here.
All right, let's go.
Car parked in the driveway.
Yeah. The hood's warm. Car's been used recently.
Yeah, you got your flashlight?
Yeah, here.
All right. The car's registered to Keith Stevens.
Yeah, come on. The lights are on inside, huh?
Yeah.
Yes?
Mr. Keith Stevens.
Yes, that's right.
Police officers like to talk to you.
Want to come in?
Yes, sir, thank you.
What's the trouble, officer?
When's the last time you saw your wife, Stevens?
Why?
Well, when did you see her last?
Well, I was over there yesterday. Always go over every Sunday to visit my little boy, Charlie. My wife and I are separated. That's what we agreed on.
And that's the last time that you saw her?
Yes, it is. Why?
Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you this. Your wife is dead.
What's that?
I'm sorry.
You're kidding. She was all right yesterday. There must be some mistake here.
No, sir, I'm afraid not.
Josephine Stevens. You sure?
543 West Bexel Street.
I gotta sit down. What happened?
She was shot.
Well, how? I can't believe this.
Well, we're working on it now. Somebody shot her while she was in bed.
I just saw her yesterday. How did it happen? Was it an accident?
No, sir. Somebody killed her.
How about little Charlie? He sleeps with his mother. Is Charlie all right?
Yes, sir. He's fine. He wasn't hurt at all. It was a small miracle how he came out of it, but apparently his safety was the last thing your wife thought of before she was killed.
It's just terrible. I still can't believe what you're saying is true. Who in the world would do a thing like this?
We want to know that, too. We need your help.
Well, where's my boy? I better go right over and see my boy.
He's in good hands with his grandmother. We just want to ask you a few questions, and then you can go right over and see him.
All right. You got to get whoever did this terrible thing.
Yes, sir. We're going to try.
Well, how is it that you happen to be up this late at night?
I just got home from work. I work the swing shift at Gibney's.
That's the steel mill down in Alameda, is it?
Yes, that's right.
Did you work today?
Yes, I told you. I just this minute got in.
Swing shift. What hours would that be?
4 to 12.
Did you work the full shift today?
I did. You don't think I would have done this thing?
Well, we have to check everybody.
Is there somebody out at the plant that can verify the fact that you were out there during the entire shift today?
Yes, my lead man and I always punch my time card in and out.
How do you get to work?
I drive. My car's right outside there, blue Chevy.
Do you own any firearms?
No, I don't.
You ever owned any?
No, never have. Didn't want a gun around with a boy.
That's so.
You live here alone?
No, since the wife and I split up, I live with another fella here.
Mm-hmm. Where is he tonight?
He's out somewhere, usually home when I get here.
Do you have any idea where he might be? Does he go out much?
He goes out quite a bit. He's going with some girl. Might be at a movie or something like that.
Does he know your wife?
Well, not too well, no. I think I took him over to the house one Sunday. He met my son Charlie and my wife.
Try to take it easy, Mr. Stevens.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to take.
Yes, sir, we understand.
This man that you live with here, what's his name?
Carl Walters.
Where'd you know him from?
He advertised in the papers. He said he wanted somebody to share a small house with him. I answered the ad, and we seemed to hit it right off from the start. He's okay.
What do you know about him?
I know enough to know he's all right. I wouldn't want to get him mixed up in this.
Well, has this Walters ever been in trouble? Has he ever been arrested?
Not that I know of. He's a good guy. Fine Army record.
I see. Have you ever been arrested?
No, sir, I never have.
Any kind of an arrest, misdemeanor, anything like that?
Never.
You never been in jail for any reason?
No, sir, never have. I had traffic tickets, but I've never been in jail for any reason. I always paid my fines, never had any trouble.
Have you any idea who might want to do a thing like this?
No, no one. How did it happen? Did they break in the house?
No, it wasn't burglary or anything like that. Somebody just wanted to do away with your wife. If you can think of anybody who might do a thing like this, it'd help.
You know, we've been separated for a while. Maybe she took up with someone who'd do something like this. I wouldn't know. I can't think of anybody I know that'd do this.
I see.
She and I have had our ups and downs, or we wouldn't be apart. We argued time and again over the custody of Charlie, but nothing serious. Can't tell you what a shock this was to me.
You say that you don't own a gun. Do you know of any of your friends or hers that might?
No, I can't think of anybody.
Well, this fellow Carl Walters, what can you tell us about him?
Now, please, he's all right. He certainly had nothing to do with this.
Well, we just want to be sure to check everybody out. If you can tell us, it may save him some embarrassment.
Well, I realize you have to be sure, but please believe me, he's all right.
You say he doesn't know your wife at all?
No, just that one meeting.
You're sure he couldn't have had any part in it?
Absolutely sure.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a fella is he?
Oh, average guy, I guess. Likes to swim, plays a little golf. Always wants me to go out camping or hunting with him.
You ever go with him?
No, I haven't so far. He wants to go on weekends, and I like to see my son on Sundays, like I said.
What does he hunt, do you know?
He's not much of a hunter, really. He just likes to go out for ducks once in a while.
Does he keep his equipment here?
No, he doesn't, over at his father's house.
Does he ever hunt for anything besides duck?
No, I'm positive about that. He's always saying how he never could shoot a deer. Says he gets buck fever. Can't say I blame him.
He ever tell you what kind of a gun he had?
No, not that I recall. Still think he had a part in this?
We didn't say that.
What's his duck hunting got to do with it?
Well, when you hunt ducks, you use a shotgun.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic cases from official police files. And now, let's look at our Fatima files.
Listed under K. Kelly, Nancy Kelly, famous actress. She says,
between scenes, I like to relax in my dressing room and light up a Fatima. They have a really different flavor, and they're extra mild.
Friends, more smokers now insist on king-size Fatimas than ever before. Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild, superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality. Even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
So, if you smoke a king-size cigarette, compare Fatima.
You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima. Smoke the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Tuesday morning, July 10th, 1 a.m. We continued to question Keith Stevens about the murder of his wife. He could add very little to what he had already told us. We made a thorough search of his house and garage. We searched his car. We found nothing that would incriminate him in any way. 1:37 a.m. Carl Walters, the man who Keith Stevens lived with, returned home. we retraced his steps for the night of July 9th. All his time was accurately accounted for. We talked with his father. We were told that the shotgun had not been used for about 10 months, since last duck season. We looked at the gun and noticed that it was covered with lint and had not been recently fired. We talked to the plant foreman at Gibney Steel Mill. He verified the fact that Keith Stevens worked his full shift on July 9th and did not leave his job until 12 midnight. At this point, both men were clear of any complicity in the murder of Josephine Stevens. Tuesday, July 10th, 8 a.m. We made the usual routine check of R&I of the 4 people involved in the case so far. Josephine Stevens, the murdered woman, her mother, Mrs. James Edwards, the husband, Keith Stevens, and his friend, Carl Walters.
Here it is, Joe. One package.
Nothing on Josephine Stevens or Miss Edwards.
That's right. And Carl Walters is clean. He kind of makes a liar out of the husband, Keith Stevens. It's his package.
Yeah, I forgot.
Well, let's see. Keith Stevens. Here's the arrest report, one only.
Let's see. It's 4127A.
Yeah, picked up from drunk charge. He didn't forget, Joe. This was on June 7th last.
Yeah, let me look at that officer's statement, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Above suspect was picked up in the company of co-defendant Michael Duff, booking number 8023. Both suspects were drunk and disorderly at time of arrest. Their condition was such they were unable to care for themselves. No, he didn't forget.
Hey, Mary.
Yes, sir?
Pull this package for us, will you, please? Booking number 8023. Give us a mug if he's got one, huh?
What was that arrest date?
June 7th, 51.
Thank you.
That's an outside chance.
He lied once. Maybe he'll lie again.
What do you suppose he was trying to prove by not telling us about this?
Oh.
Here you are.
Well, thank you, Mary.
That's a little bigger package, huh?
Yeah. Look, his R card. He's done time in Quentin.
Yeah. 1933, Grand Theft Auto. Did 4.5 years, paroled out in 37. Here he is, back in again on suspicion of robbery. 1946, charge released. Picked up again, suspicion of robbery, released again.
Michael Lewis Duff, alias Mickey Duff. Stevens is moving in pretty fast company.
Yeah. Look here, this is the guy, all right. Here's that last drunk arrest. See on that we saw on Stevens, June 7th?
Yeah, Is there a mug there, Joe?
Let's see. Well, there's this one on that 211 arrest in 47.
Yeah, I see that one. It's pretty old, though. It's a little worn. Kind of hard to see.
So check that last arrest report on the drunk charge. Maybe we got one of those auto photo strips. That ought to do it.
I hope so.
Yeah, here we are.
Let's see. Yeah, those auto photos are good mugs, aren't they?
Yeah.
What address did he give on that last arrest?
5234 West Main. No, all these other addresses are just transient hotels. That Main Street address, the most recent, looks like the best bet.
This is probably why Stevens lied about being arrested.
Yeah, let's see if he lied about anything else. We drove over to 5234 West Main Street. It was a small 2-story rooming house. We checked with the landlady, and she told us that she had a man registered under the name of Michael Duff in room 20. She told us that he had just walked out a few minutes before we arrived, saying he was going down to the corner to buy a newspaper. We identified ourselves and stated that we'd wait in his room for him. We asked her not to tell him. She went upstairs with us and unlocked the door to room 20. We made a thorough search of his place. It was a 2-room apartment. I searched the living room, and Ben went over the kitchen.
Joe, come here.
Yeah.
Look here. Look, I'm up under the sink here, cradled in the gooseneck of the drain.
Yeah, shotgun.
Yeah. Just a minute. It's been fired recently.
No.
And this much fits in.
These don't. Found him in the pocket of one of his coats in the closet there.
12-gauge shotgun shells. Where'd you find them?
In the pocket of a dress suit? That doesn't fit, does it?
Not unless he's the best-dressed hunter in town.
Sounds like he's back.
Yeah. Get your hand out of that pocket, please, officers.
What's going on?
Keep your hands out and open. Stand still. Here, Joe. You want to take this?
Yeah. What are you doing carrying a gun, Duff?
Anything wrong?
You know better than that. What'd they tell you when they paroled you?
That was a long time ago.
They haven't changed the rules.
I don't know what you're doing here in the first place.
Go on over there and sit down.
All right, if that's what you want.
That's what we want. Move.
Right now, do you want to tell us about it?
About the gun?
About both of them. The shotgun here on the table and this one I got in my hand.
Well, you found that old shotgun, huh?
We found it.
I haven't used that old thing for years. Just kept it as a keepsake. Haven't fired it for a long time. Don't even have any shells for it anymore.
Except these two.
I don't know where those came from.
Look, Duff, you're an ex-convict. We find 2 guns in your possession. Now, let's don't play games. Tell us about it.
I haven't got anything to tell you. I would if I did.
I just had a long talk with Keith Stevens.
What'd he have to say?
Never mind what he had to say. Let's hear your side of it.
You wouldn't try to kid me, would you?
Now, you listen, fella. We just came from a house over on Bexell Street. There's a woman lying in bed over there that took a blast from a sawed-off shotgun. You own a shotgun. It's been recently fired. You lied. You said you hadn't fired it. You said you didn't have any shells for it. Well, here they are. Now, look, they fit, don't they? Take a good look at it, mister. There's only one thing missing. Who pulled the trigger?
Let's have it, Duff.
Did Stevens tell you?
We'll ask the questions. Now, come on.
All right. I did it, but I did it for Stevens. Told me he'd give me $1,000 if I kill his wife for him. I haven't been paid yet. I'm still waiting to get paid off.
You won't have to wait any longer.
We took Michael Duff downtown together with a murder weapon. He gave us a full confession stating that Keith Stevens had offered to pay him $1,000 for the murder of his wife. He said that he and Stevens had planned it together. 1:30 p.m., Tuesday, July 10th. We drove out to pick up Keith Stevens.
What else could I do? Is that how you justify the murder of your wife?
It was her fault. If she'd have just tried to be reasonable, this never would have happened.
People settle these kind of problems every day, and they don't use a shotgun.
You wouldn't understand. Unless you got a son, you'd never really understand why I did it.
I've got a son. I don't understand.
And you don't love him like I do. Couldn't stand the thought of never seeing him, having her take him away from me.
And that's the way you want us to put it down. That you didn't want your child taken away from you, so you killed his mother.
Not exactly. She was going to take him away. She wanted him to forget all about me. She wanted him off for herself.
Did your wife tell you all this?
No, of course not. Any fool could see that's what she had in mind.
You mean just because of some argument that you and your wife had, you just assumed all this to be so?
Sure. I knew she'd never give me a break with Charlie. Isn't that what always happens?
And you never asked her how she felt? Never thought that you could stand on your legal rights? Never knew that what you're trying to make us believe seldom happens unless there's a good reason for it?
Wasn't going to let her take my son away from me. Nobody could do that.
Yes, sir, you're right. You lost him yourself.
The story you just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 15th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 84, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now here's our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, I'd like you to be the judge while I present our case for Fatima. Now, you've heard me say that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes. Get a pack of Fatimas and compare them with any other long cigarette. Side by side, I'll admit a Fatima looks the same as any other king-size cigarette. But when you smoke them, you'll find a world of difference. In Fatima, that difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness, a much better flavor and aroma. Compare Fatima, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Keith Edward Stevens was convicted of murder in the first degree and received a life sentence. He is now serving his time in the state penitentiary. Michael Lewis Duff was convicted of first-degree murder and received the death sentence. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary.
Dragnet wishes to thank Sheriff Brian Clemens of the parish of East Baton Rouge, state of Louisiana, for the appointment of Sergeant Joe Friday and Sergeant Ben Romero as honorary deputy sheriffs. Our sincere thanks to Sheriff Clemens.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over most NBC stations.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. A United States postal inspector comes to your office. You've received the same complaints he has. Somebody is stealing mail in your city. Your job, help get him.
Friends, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette. You'll find a world of difference. Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties. Extra mild, superbly blended. To give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality. Even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed. To bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
So compare Fatima yourself today.
You'll find Fatima's now cost the same as other long cigarettes. But your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, March 3rd. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of forgery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Harry Elliott. My name's Friday. It was 7:45 a.m. when I got to room 29. Forgery detail.
Morning, Joe.
Hi, Ben. Sure coming down out there.
Yeah?
Look at this coat. It's soaking wet.
Is that the same trench coat, that English one?
Yeah. Ever since I had it cleaned, it seems to soak up the water a little more.
Does it leak?
Oh, no. It just seems to take on a little more water. Keeps me dry.
Got something to show you, Joe.
Yeah?
Remember that old raincoat of mine used to leak up through the seams over the shoulders?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Take a look at this.
What do you got there?
Pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, what is it?
A new raincoat. Never know, would you? Small, compact, the whole thing's hardly any bigger than a pack of cigarettes. Not bad, huh?
Yeah. Where'd you get it?
Wife bought it for me. Amy says it's a regular full-size raincoat, size 40 long.
Amy says, so didn't you try it on?
Oh, no, you know how they make something like this. It's made out of plastic, size isn't too important. Just a plain coat. Slips right on over your suit, just like any other raincoat. I know it'll fit.
You haven't worn it yet, huh?
No, it hadn't started to rain when I left home.
Could I see that?
Sure. Real compact, isn't it? Now, something like this is really practical.
Yeah,
Little package like that, you carry it around with you all the time. Never take up any room at all.
Yeah. What's it look like?
Just like that little pouch there. Same stuff. It's transparent, you know, regular plastic.
Well, could we look at it inside? I mean?
Okay, let's see.
Well, here, you better do it.
Yeah, okay. Well, just unzip it here. Sure is compact, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. Look there, Joe. All folded up nice and neat.
Yeah.
Sure is lightweight, too. Plastic's great, isn't it?
Fine, yeah.
There we go. Full-size raincoat. See there? Fits fine. Never know a full-size coat would go in a thing like that little pouch there, would you? It's no bigger than a tobacco pouch.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You ought to try it on, Joe. Never know you had anything wrong. Sure is light and nice.
Yeah, I can see.
Now we just put it back in the pouch till I'm ready for it. Let's see now. Collar goes up. One folds in like this. No, that isn't right. Goes this way. Let's put it down on the table. That'll be better. Yeah, that's better. Now, here we go. Now, we fold the arms in here. Now, the bottom part comes up this way. Now, we fold it over and again. Easy, isn't it? Just follow the crease marks and you're home, Joe.
Yeah.
Now, if you'll hand me that little pouch, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. Now, no, I guess that's too big. Well, we'll make one more fold, okay?
Yeah.
Well, it's small enough this way, but it's too fat, isn't it?
You better watch it there. You're going to tear that little sack.
That's funny. I folded right over the old creases there. Too fat in it.
Yeah. Well, couldn't you just carry it in your pocket like that without the pouch?
Sure, I'd say. Let's look at my coat pocket. No, that won't do, Joe. It bulges right out. It's kind of springy. It jumps out, just like a piece of bungee silk.
Yeah, it seems to.
Well, it's still lightweight and easy to handle.
Sure. Plenty easy to carry just like that, anyway.
Yeah. Well-made little pouch there. Seems a shame not to be able to use it.
You smoke a pipe?
No, you know that. Just cigarette. Yeah, I'll find some use for it. Probably 100 things a fellow could use a little pouch like this for if he could just think of them right off.
Yeah, that's right.
Riley, Romero, you want to step in here for a minute?
Right, Captain.
You fellows know Inspector Smith, Post Office Department?
Sure, how are you?
Romero?
Good to see you, Leo.
How you doing, Joe?
Sit down, won't you?
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Inspector Smith's over here on that mail thief case that we've been working on.
Oh, yeah. Did you receive those reports we sent over to you yesterday?
No, I haven't been to the office yet. Came straight over here.
Well, Burglar turned it over to us yesterday afternoon. Ben and I ran it down. Seems to us like it might fit in somewhere here.
Miller and Ashton have probably got your reports now. I was just going to call in. You mind filling me in on it?
Apartment house over on Alvarado. Landlady reported a theft of part of a mailbox out there.
Yeah, somebody stole a master panel off the front of the community mailbox at the apartment house. Figure it must have happened sometime during the night.
Oh, yeah, I believe we got something on that, too. A postman on the route reported it.
That's how he's getting into the mailboxes. Steals the front panel, makes a key for himself, and then on, he's in business. Smart guy like we're after could put a key like that to good use. It'd fit a great many different mailboxes around town.
Yeah, it's the same M.O. We've been on this guy for a long time. He pulled the same thing down in San Diego, was knocking down about $2,000 a month. Then he laid out. Now he's at it again up here in L.A.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you know, we've been getting reports of the thefts and the passing of the checks about 10 days ago.
Yeah, I know.
We've got 5 checks passed by this same thief according to handwriting analysis. We know it's the same guy.
Talked to the victims and the bank tellers. Description of the guy seems to tally with what you people have on him.
Yeah.
There's just one thing we haven't been able to piece out yet.
What's that, Joe?
When he steals a check, how does he know what bank to pass it on?
Well, I think we got the answer to that one.
Well, let's say that he steals a letter, and we know he doesn't only hit the community mailboxes. Sometimes he goes to a private residence, fishes the letters right out of the mail slots in that case.
Yeah, he's got some kind of a gimmick he gets down in those slots with.
Yeah, that's what we figure, Leo. Well, we'll say after he's got a letter with a check in it. Now, it's easy enough for a good forger to put an endorsement on it, but how does he know what branch of the bank to pass it on?
Well, at some time or other, he's stealing bank statements as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he's just lucky. At the time he steals a check, there's other mail in the box, too. The victim's bank statements.
Well, as far as that goes, I suppose he's stolen more than once from the same party. He could probably get away with bank statements easy.
Well, that's it. People never seem to report anything missing in the mails until weeks after it's happened.
It's easy to see why. They're not sure anything's wrong until they wait several days. They don't want to bother us in the case of anything routine like monthly bank statements.
And in the case of a check, well, sometimes it's from a relative or someone who owes them money, and they don't want to embarrass them by writing or calling to find out about it.
And I suppose in the case of anything like a dividend check, we got a couple of those, Leo.
Mm-hmm.
The people who lose them just don't think it's time for them to arrive yet, so they just wait, huh?
That's it. And that's why it's been so successful. Plus the fact that it takes about a week for any kind of check to be processed through central clearing at any bank, and then, too, the bank wouldn't necessarily know that anything was wrong at that time.
Until the bank receives a complaint from the party who missed the check, they couldn't have any way of knowing that anything was wrong.
That's right.
Tell them what you were telling me this morning, Leo.
Well, you people aren't in it deep enough to know this yet, but this guy's been hitting the same branch bank maybe 2-3 times in a row.
Not here in L.A., had he?
No, not yet. It looks to us like he's just started up his operations here in town. That's the way he worked it down in San Diego.
Well, it's easy enough to figure. If he got a teller in some bank to go along with him, someone who didn't suspect him, and since the victims reported so late, he could get away with it at least that many times at the same bank, couldn't he?
Yeah. If people report missing mail immediately, it'd make it a lot tougher for the thief.
That last name on him still good, Harvey Fletcher?
That's what we're going on, yeah.
We've got bulletins out to all the banks carrying that description on him, and he changed earlier.
WMA, average build, 150, 160 pounds, gray eyes, about 32 to 35, well-dressed, carries a briefcase. Likeable personality.
That's what we got on him.
Oh, there's a little something we picked up yesterday from a bank teller. She told us the man had long sideburns, for what it's worth. You might add that.
Okay.
Don Myers in handwriting has checked through his files, Leo. They haven't got anything on him. And the stats office hasn't been able to make him on his M.O.
And we know you people are doing everything you can for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I wish we could do more.
That name, Harvey Fletcher, Of the 5 checks that we've got on the guy, according to handwriting analysis on him, he's only used that name once. Rest of the time, he signs the same last name as the payee's name on the face of the check.
He passes himself off as a brother, husband, or some relation to the rightful payee.
Yeah, that's what's taking in all those bank tellers, plus a smooth personality. He's cool, collected, all the confidence in the world.
Yeah, that figures.
Yeah, we got one day before yesterday with a little different twist. Isn't going to help us any, but here's the way he's working it in some cases. He deposits a large check to the victim's account, then he only takes out a small portion in cash. Throws the tellers off even more.
Here's those photostats, Leo.
What's this?
Copies of the last 5 checks that we got on the guy.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Harry.
Maya says they're all in the same handwriting. Is there anything else we can do for you, Leo? We've got all the banks in the area covered, got bulletins out on them.
Well, that's fine.
Don't think we've overlooked anything. Patrol units have been alerted.
With this latest theft of that mailbox panel, it's too bad we can't localize his operations a little.
Leo, didn't you say that if he makes a key, that key would fit any number of boxes in the city? We couldn't pin him down to one neighborhood, could we?
That's right. That key will work on different mail routes. He probably knows the neighborhood around Alvarado is hot now. He'll leave it alone anyway.
It's impossible to stake him out on the actual thefts of the mail. It's too bad we can't get to him through one of the banks when he cashes them.
Well, your manpower and ours put together couldn't cover all the banks in L.A. at one time, but we've been spot checking throughout the city, hoping maybe to tab him just by luck.
We might get a break from one of our bulletins, maybe some tellers spot him.
Well, I'm not sure yet. That's one of the reasons I came over here this morning, but maybe we've got a little something.
What's that?
Well, a bank out in Westwood phoned us yesterday. The teller thought she recognized the guy from his description. Didn't dawn on her till after the guy had left her window. She rushed out in time to get the license number of his car.
Well, maybe it's a break, huh?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. The check was drawn on the account of a William E. Scott. And that's the number 2 victim here in L.A.
Yeah, that's right. You got the photostat of his checks right there.
Yeah, I know. Well, everything seems to fit. This check he passed yesterday out in Westwood was probably stolen at the same time as the first one, or at least it came from this Scott's mailbox. That we know.
Well, didn't this William Scott report the theft of 2 checks? I know he didn't to us. Maybe he did to you.
No, he didn't. Said he couldn't be sure. He gets quite a few checks through the mail. Owns a lot of stock, gets dividends.
Yeah, probably doesn't know when they come each month.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't miss the first one until it was way overdue. Might even be others missing. He doesn't know for sure yet.
Well, anyway, he's positive on this latest one out in Westwood that the bank teller caught, huh?
Sure. As soon as the bank manager called him, he knew he hadn't authorized anybody to cash any of his checks.
Does the M.O. seem to match?
Well, that's what's got us going on it. Looks real good. Smooth operator. Deposited part of the money, took the balance in cash. The major switch in his operation was the fact that he didn't go to the victim's regular bank as he did on that first check.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
And we kind of think so. That's the reason I came over here this morning. Conway, our handwriting man, thinks it's the same as the guy we're after. He asked me to check it through Don Myers to be sure.
What signature did you use on this last one?
Now, that's another part of the M.O. that checks out. You remember on the first check, he forged the victim's name, William Scott?
Mm-hmm.
Then he made it a second-party check by signing the phony name, George Scott, passing himself off as a nephew of the victim.
Pretty smart. He goes to this victim's regular bank, and he doesn't take the chance of being tabbed as the payee. He covers by using that nephew gimmick. Huh?
Yeah. This time he goes to a different branch. Not the regular branch that the victim deals with as in the first case. He simply forges the victim's name and lets it go at that.
You doing anything in that license number?
Well, Ashton and Miller checked it out late yesterday afternoon. They're on it now.
Need any help?
Well, not so far. I'm interested in what Don Myers has to say about the handwriting. He ought to be through about now, huh?
I'll give him a call.
Well, thanks, Harry.
Oh, Don? Who's this? This is Elliot. You know if Don's checked that stuff through for Inspector Smith yet? Okay, thanks, Lon. No, that's all right. We'll get through. Don was called out of the office for a minute. That was Sloan. He says he's sure Don's finished with it.
Oh, fine. You say when he'll be back?
He just ducked down to Thad Brown's office for a minute. I'll call down there for you.
Well, that's all right. I'll walk down there myself. I need the exercise.
Okay.
Go on, I'll walk on down with you.
Oh, swell. Let's go.
All right. You fellas will be back here once.
Well, sure, as soon as I check with Myers.
All right.
Which way is it from here? This hall looks the same from one end to the other to me.
It's this way, Leo.
Oh, okay.
This affects you like the federal building does me. I get all turned around up there.
Yeah. Well, those fellas down in San Diego had a rough go on this thing.
Yeah, I was talking to McGuire and Ormsby down there just the other day. They said they were going around in circles on it.
They broke a lot of ground for us. Checked out a lot of suspects, cleared them. Checked out all that stuff that Brereton from CII sent down.
Yeah.
You know how thorough that guy is.
It figures they've done a lot of legwork.
Friday, you say you just talked to him down there?
Yeah, that's right, Lou.
Well, then you know about all those bulletins they got on the guy. Description, exemplars of his handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Sent them to every police department in the United States.
It's a big job.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go get Don. It's right in here.
Thanks, Joe.
Right. Don?
Yeah, Joe.
Leo Smith from the post office department's waiting to see you.
Right, Joe. Just on my way back to the office.
Fine.
Hello, Don.
Sorry, Leo. I had ducked out for a minute.
Oh, that's all right. Say, did you get a chance to look that sky check over?
Yeah, I did. Got a couple of things to show you back in the office.
Okay, fine.
Was Conway positive on this one?
Well, he said he felt we had the right man, but he wanted your opinion to be absolutely sure.
I couldn't be positive, but I think maybe he's your man. There's a great similarity, but too much pressure on the downstrokes. The ye's, the yo's. Just not too sure. They're a little different than some of the previous samples of the guy's handwriting.
Uh-huh.
I can show you better back at the office. Got a few things for you.
Think there's a possibility, Don?
Well, let me put it this way. I won't say it is, and I won't say it isn't. Let's pick him up and find out for sure. Here we are. Go ahead, fella.
Thank you.
I've blown those things up here.
Uh-huh.
Call for you, Leo. I'm 3.
Oh, thanks, Harry. Excuse me. The Smith talking. You did? Uh-huh. We did. All right, look, why don't you bring him down a forgery detail here at the City Hall? We'll talk to him here. Right. Right, thanks. Well, looks like the end of the trail. That was Ashton. He and Miller picked him up. He's our man, admitted the forgery.
Looks like San Diego did all the work and we get all the luck.
Anyway, we got him.
You are in the Scientific Investigation Division of a Metropolitan Police Department, the Ballistics Room.
You have just heard a test bullet fired from a .38 caliber revolver found in the possession of a suspect.
The test slug is removed from the ballistics box and compared with the slug found at the scene of the crime.
There they are. Side by side, they look alike. But examination will prove a world of difference.
Now, examine a Fatima. Compare it with any other king-size cigarette. Side by side, they'll look alike. But right away, you'll find there's a world of difference. Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
In the routine solution of a case, the police officer is always benefited by the legwork of his fellow officers. In this case, the men of the San Diego Police Department, in conjunction with the Post Office Department, had done most of the spade work, and the actual apprehension of the suspect appeared to be almost too easy on our end. Even though Ben and I hadn't participated in the physical arrest of the suspect, we felt the same gratification for the speedy solution of the case as did the postal authorities. Monday, March 3rd, 3:27 p.m., Miller and Ashton of the Post Office Department brought the suspect in for questioning. The prisoner was turned over to Inspector Leo Smith. Ben and I sat in on the interrogation.
Carver Gleason, that's your true name?
Yes, sir, it is.
You say you've never been arrested before?
No, sir, I never have.
Now, you know we're going to check that out.
Yes, sir.
All right, now let's go over it again.
The same way?
Well, that's up to you. We want the truth.
I've told you the truth. You asked me questions about stealing mail, about forging checks. You said I was down in San Diego. Well, that's not true. None of it's true.
Have you ever stolen from the mails?
No, sir, I never have. I know this is pretty serious offense.
What makes you think forging isn't? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm not. I didn't say that, but this was the first time I've ever done anything like this. I didn't even think about the consequences.
Should have thought about them. When's the last time you were in San Diego?
I've never been there. Don't even know for sure where it is.
How long you been in Los Angeles?
About 3 months now.
Where's your home?
Akron, Ohio.
How old did you say you were?
25.
And what have you been doing since you got out here?
Well, that's just it. Nothing. Can't find a job.
Well, how you been getting by? How you been living?
Been staying down at the YMCA. Hope Street, I guess it is.
What have you been doing for money?
Well, my folks gave me a little when I left Akron. Thought I'd have a job by now. I didn't want to write home for any more, so when I found that check, I figured I could get away with it. I needed money, and I cashed it.
And where'd you say you found it?
Over on, that street out that way, La Cienega. Is that how you say it?
La Cienega, yeah. Now, what were you doing out there?
Well, I was answering an ad in the classifieds, trying to find a job. I had to park the car down the street from the place, and on my way back, I found this check on the sidewalk right near the bank on the corner.
Where'd you get the car?
It's my father's.
The car's registered in your name with California plates. How do you explain that?
Well, the folks told me when I got to California to go right to the authorities and register the car if I was going to stay so I wouldn't get in any trouble. That's where part of my money went.
You got anything else you want to tell us?
Well, I did it. I admit that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it up somehow. The check was for $57. I gave the men that arrested me 50 of it, and I spent $7.
Yeah, that's all on the record.
I did wrong. I'll pay the $7 back.
Well, you can take that up with the judge, Gleason. Friday, Romero, you want to step outside with me a minute?
Yeah, right.
Gleason, you wait here with that officer.
Yes, sir.
And what do you think?
He's telling the truth. He's not the one we want.
How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I'll go along with Ben.
Well, it makes 3 of us.
Monday, March 3rd, 5 p.m. We went in and checked with Don Myers. In carefully going over exemplars of Carver Gleason's handwriting, he had definitely eliminated him as our suspect. Carver Gleason remained in custody awaiting trial. 3 months went by. During this time, the burglaries and forgeries continued. Suspects were picked up, checked out, and released. We got nowhere. Tuesday, July 12th. We received a communication from Chief Adam Jensen of the San Diego Police Department, who stated he was forwarding a radiogram from Chief John W. Polsine of the Milwaukee, Wisconsin Police Department. The radiogram from Chief Polsine stated that his handwriting man in Milwaukee had identified the suspect's handwriting, as listed in one of the San Diego bulletins, as belonging to Philip E. Holloway. Holloway was arrested 2 years previous on a reckless driving charge. The physical description of the man matched closely with the one that we'd received on the suspect known to us as Harvey Fletcher. They further stated that although he was at one time a resident of Milwaukee, they had nothing further on him. It was just an outside chance, but we decided that in all probability this could be the suspect's true name, Philip E. Holloway. This information was forwarded to the postal authorities. Ben and I started to check through our channels to determine the whereabouts of the suspect, Philip E. Holloway, with a possible alias of Harvey Fletcher.
Yeah, that's it, Joe. Nothing in any of the phone books.
Yeah.
Covered everything I can think of. Our records, sheriff's records, nothing from CII, utility companies.
Yeah, well, maybe Smith found something on him. We haven't got anything here.
Think I'll give him a call, huh, Joe?
Yeah, I'd like to know. That's extension 664.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 664. Hello, Inspector Smith, please. How's that? Oh, I see. No, that's all right, thank you. He's on his way over here. He left 5 minutes ago.
I sure hope he's got something.
Joe, Ben?
Hi, Leo.
I think maybe we ran it down.
Good. How'd you do it? Through the Postal Service?
Yep. Didn't figure, did it?
Well, we didn't think he'd stay put long enough to have a permanent address.
Well, he's been on the move, but we got the last known address on him. Received mail there 2 days ago.
You want to check with Don Myers? He's been working over those exemplars Milwaukee sent us.
I just did. Called him about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, we just got back from R&I.
What do you have to say this time?
Well, he and Conway agree all the way this trip.
Yeah?
Holloway's our man.
Together with the postal authorities, Ben and I helped in the 24-hour surveillance placed on the suspect, Philip E. Holloway. Our findings disclosed that he was living in a modest apartment house, and he was employed by a local vacuum cleaner company as a door-to-door salesman. This type of occupation would enable anyone to have suspicion-free access to any and all types of home mailboxes. The first 3 days of the surveillance failed to disclose any further incriminating evidence. Thursday, July 17th, 5th day of the 24-hour surveillance, 2:30 p.m. Holloway came out of his apartment building, got into his car, and drove approximately 4 miles to the Echo Park residential district. He parked his car, got out, and went up the steps of a small apartment house. Together with Inspector Leo Smith, Ben and I followed him.
You want to pull up here, Ben? This is good.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, he's going for that mailbox, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got the key. He's opening the panel.
Not a worry in the world. Broad daylight. Look at that. Yeah. He's got all the letters out of the box, got them in his pocket. On his way back to his car.
Leo, there's a bank right up there on Sunset, see?
Okay, let's stay with him. How's it look, Joe? You can see up ahead there. Is he pulling out?
Wait a minute. All right, let's go. Better pull up here, huh?
Now, look at that. Just like it was blueprinted. Going right in the bank.
Come on.
Yeah. Joe, you see him?
There he is. Second window.
Let's get in line right behind him.
Right.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
Yes, I wonder if you can cash a check for me?
Yes, sir. Would you endorse it, please?
Sure. There you are. As you can see, this is one of my mother's checks. I guess I can cash it all right for her.
Do you have any identification?
I'm sorry, I don't. I'll say I have this envelope the check was mailed in. Will that do?
Yes, I think that's all right. How would you like this, sir?
He doesn't want it anyway, miss. Just hold that check for us, please. Postal Inspector.
Yes, sir.
I beg your pardon. I believe you're making a mistake here.
No, there's no mistake. Come on, step over here. Shake him down.
I don't understand all this. That key you used over there on Baxter Street, that the one you made from that panel you stole over on Alvarado about 4 months ago? You know about that, huh? Yeah, we do. I did all right for a while, didn't I? That key angle's a pretty good one, isn't it? There isn't a lock in the world I can't make a key for. We got one in mind you might have trouble with.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 15th, trial was held in the United States District Court, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, all of us on Dragnet are convinced that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes. We think you'll like them as much as we do. But the only way you can tell is to buy a pack of Fatimas and compare them with any other king-size cigarette. Now, side by side, they'll look alike, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness, a much better flavor and aroma. Compare Fatima. You'll agree, Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
The suspect, Philip Elwood Holloway, was found guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to 10 years in the federal penitentiary. 5 years of his sentence was suspended, and he was placed on probation, one of the conditions being that he make restitution of the stolen money.
Ladies and gentlemen, accidents of all types kill more persons from 1 to 35 years of age than does any single disease. America's homes and children can best be kept safe if every father, mother, and child develops the personal responsibility to know and observe home safety rules. Make home safety a family affair. Be careful. The life you save may be your own.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over most NBC stations.